Every group of people in this world is known by their story, word of mouth. And can't nobody tell your people's story. That was how the world worked, even in natural law. If you read the history of some tribe in the jungle out of your history book, and you take a trip to meet that tribe yourself, and the tribe say, that's bull. Let me see that history book. Who wrote this crap? Yeah, that's not our history. That's not who we are. Let us tell you who we are. Guess what some of y'all will do? You will argue with the tribe and say, but it's in a book. It's right here in the book. No, I'm going to tell you who you are, even though I just met you for the first damn time. Bias. You act like a colonizer. Because guess what colonizers do? When they go to your land, they rename everything and they rename everybody. They change your language and your name and all that. And in order for them to do that, they got to retell your history, who you are, your story, and make it compatible for the new you that they telling the world you are. In order for them to delete who you really are and give the world a version of you who they want you to be, they got to tell your story. You can't tell it. Because who you really are, only you know that. Only your people know that. Only your family can tell the world who the hell you is. Now, what if you become famous and your fans start acting like they know you more than your mama? And all of your fans start writing books about your life, and what they writing ain't true. And your family come out and be like, that's not true about Bro Sanchez. Y'all lied on him. But they own the printing press, so their story is the most popular, even though it's the lie. So everybody in the world believing something about me that ain't true. And when I try to tell my own story, they say that ain't in the book. Like the book got more authority than me when it come to my story and who I am. That's what's happening to black people. But I'm telling you, you can shove your book up your ass when you go to the jungle and you interview that tribe and they say your historian wrong. You will be an evil person to argue with that tribe, to tell that tribe, shut up, that ain't who you are. This white dude that wrote this book know who you are. Now be quiet and tell your priests, your oracle, your high ministers of your tribe, tell them to be quiet and let me read my book that the white scientist that went to Harvard wrote about your people. Let me tell you who you are. Shut your mouth.
Sanchez cocinando.
It's kind of like the sun coming over a dark cloud and shining on you with its warm rays of beneficence.
Yo, once again from the soul. This is my notebook. Let me rip you a page that'll make you sit back and witness the plague. Got kids pitching grenades, missing the days. Guess you can't be a star sitting in the shade. And at times, life will make you sicker than AIDS. Twisting the haze, laid out wishing you prayed. Working hard, no difference is made. In a world that'll kill you and spit in your grade. The best thing a parent can say to a child, success has no restriction for age. Or we might be another nigga twisting some braids in the penitentiary, spending some days. Bad choices, plus you know how niggas persuade. Them snakes got venomous ways. And the worst thing to a man is feeling betrayed. Head above water, still get hit with a wave. Still think of my queen, get hit with a daze. Still treat us no different than slaves. This world will take hearts and fill them with rage. Water seeds with hate and make them sit in a cage. On some bullshit. World on some bullshit. Nothing new under the sun. shit ain't no different today. You know I can give up what your ministers say. I won't forget the past to remember the faith. As society takes souls and send them astray, then it's the hate you got trapped deep in your heart. So in these times I fall back deep in the arts, hidden colors. Got a nigga seeking the arc, sipping tea, watching devils pull people apart. I remember an old saying, reap what you sow. On your journey, stay humble and teach what you know. And this flow ain't the shit you see at the store. It's more like the damn killer that you greet at the door. Third eye be the seed of your soul. Such a beautiful earth these demons control. Gonna make shit better if I can, cause all over the world my empire stand. On some bullshit. World on some bullshit.
Sanchez cocinando.
Every group of people in this world is known by their story, word of mouth. And can't nobody tell your people's story. That was how the world worked, even in natural law. This is how the law of the land works. When you meet a stranger, the stranger tells you who they are. They don't prove to you who they are. They tell you who they are, and you got to prove that the stranger ain't who they just said they was. You owe them that. You can't say to the stranger, I don't believe that's who you is, because you don't know me. I can say to you, so who I am ain't based on your belief. That's right. Ain't that so great that who I am ain't based on your belief? Clap it up for that. I love that. But guess what? That ain't the truth. Who I am is based upon some people's beliefs, called Pan-Africans, eugenics. That ain't fair. Who I am shouldn't be based upon your beliefs. It should be based upon what? My story. That's right. Everybody in the world, when they meet people who don't know them, they tell the people who they are. And if the people say, tell me your story, tell me more about your people, give me your story, that's your what? His story, my story, her story, your people's story, our story. Everyone got a story to tell, and can't nobody tell your story for you. That's right. The worst thing that can happen to a group of people is for them group of people not to be able to tell their own story. That's right. Think about it. The people in power are called small hats. Their whole identity come from a fairy tale book called the Bible. That's right. I'm gonna say that again. The small hats, their whole identity come from a mythological book and a fairy tale called the Bible, with them being the chosen people of God. People allow them to create an identity for themselves based upon a story that they told, but they won't let me do it. Don't nobody challenge these people's story. These people go around the world telling their story, and they force it on people.
Bro Sanchez, just one who's out there Bro Sanchez, just one who's out there in the fight to teach. Bro Sanchez, you got the story right, and now I see, yeah. Bro Sanchez.
Peace and much love. Welcome back, everybody. It's an exciting day today because I'm gonna really hit a lot of good points today that's gonna open your eyes, that's gonna give you some good powerful revelations to help you progress in your awareness, your awakening, your evolution as a spiritual being, because we are spirits, we are not bodies. But welcome back, everybody. How y'all doing? Before we start, let me show some love to the people that's showing some love to me via the super chat. Shout out to VHS. Peace to you. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the super chat. Shout out to Michael Lobbin for being a member of this channel, and salutes and clap it up to all of the channel members. We about to start this thing in just a minute. All cash apps that y'all sent in, I will be reading those live throughout the show. And if you don't want your cash app read, put don't read. Shout out to JS. He said Pan-African is a religion. Yeah, Pan-Africanism is a religion. Give a shout out to my brother Louis Russell. Thank you for your support. Thank y'all, man. What's up, Sanchez? Yeah, what's up, bro? Shout out to all of y'all. Let's hop right into the title. Today's title: Tariq Nasheed is wrong about FBAs and ethnogenesis. Let me give a shout out to the OG Big Dog Philly in the house. And let's give a shout out to Sister Betty in the house, man. Shout out to every single one of you. And Osio, to the Aboriginals, all right, to the FBA, salutes. And I consider myself both. But now I would say this, man. I would say this. There are levels to your Aboriginal awakening. There are levels to your FBA awakening. And I'm here today to really give you a lot of things you're going to need in these times. So let's talk about Tariq Nasheed. Let me cam up. How y'all doing? Let's talk about Tariq Nasheed. Tariq Nasheed has a political movement. He don't have a historical movement. Tariq Nasheed is not a historian, but he have made historical content in a form of Hidden Colors. This stuff you need to know. Listen up now. Tariq Nasheed started off as a Pan-African. He didn't have an American first ideology. You see, a lot of people either don't know this about Tariq Nasheed, what I'm about to teach y'all, or they don't want to say it. But here's the truth. Tariq Nasheed is a Pan-African. It's time to quit playing about it. What is a Pan-African? A Pan-African, because a lot of people like to say Pan-Africanism is just an ideology. It's a mentality of a whole bunch of brothers working together to try to work together as one family or whatever. You know, we get it. Why call it Pan-Africanism then? Why not just call it Brothers United? Why I got to become an African for me to unite with a group of brothers? Is no different than I can't unite with the church brothers without calling myself a Christian. That's right. I can't unite with the Hebrews if I don't become a Hebrew Israelite. I can't unite with the Moors and if I don't become a Moor. I can't unite with the Nation of Islam if I don't become a Muslim. And I can't unite with no Africans unless I subscribe to their centered way of thinking and become African-centered in my thinking. That's right. Everybody trying to brainwash me. and I caught on to it. And I'm so damn happy to be free. How about y'all? Don't it feel good to be free? See, you think that the African, the Nigerian gonna come over here and tell you the truth that the white man enslaved you, and then that the white man indoctrinated you and then set you free. They're just trying to intercept you, not free you. That's the truth. Ain't nobody trying to free you. See, freeing yourself is something that only you can do. There is no freedom if it don't come from you. The only thing someone else got to offer you is a change of leadership, okay? And that's all we've been getting, from Democrats to Republicans, from Biden to Trump. I don't care what, from this church to that church, from this ideology to that ideology, a change of leadership hasn't got us to where we want to be, because we don't know what a person that's leading us taking us to. But I tell you what, a change in our collective thinking will get us where we want to be overnight. Right. Let's talk about Tariq Nasheed and FBA, because I love FBA. I like the idea of black people having a identity at the political table. I like the arguments that comes up when it comes to ADOS, FBA, and what they present in the body of politics. Now, I think that's beneficial. But I think that everything that FBA and ADOS stand for is being threatened and jeopardized behind Pan-Africanism or the out of Africa theory, because in order for me to have any power in the land that I reside in, it really boils down to whose land is it? Authority is synonymous with ownership. No one really owns the land, but the people who've been given authority over the land will be the first ones that was here. And if you don't understand why that's so, just understand basic squatter's law. If I'm occupying an area, if you want to occupy that same area, you have to ask my permission. I don't own that area, but I was occupying it first. So if I'm outside sitting down at the park and you decide, hey, Sanchez, I want to sit in the very exact spot you're sitting at, either I got to give up my seat or you got to take it. And you can say, but it's not your land. You're right, but I was here first. It's territorial laws. Even animals know that. Even animals know that. That's right. Even animals follow this law. So the conversation, because a lot of people gonna say, because I get this a lot, Sanchez, what does it matter who was here first? But them be the same people wanted to be a line leader in kindergarten. Doesn't matter, Sanchez, who was here first. Well, it does when it comes to people making claims. Because if everybody's saying, you know, Sanchez, that spot you sitting in belong to him. No, it belong to me. No, it belong to him. When the police show up, guess what they're going to say? Who was here first? And I'm going to say, man, when I showed up at this park, officer, there was nobody here. I laid my blanket down with my family. We had a picnic. This man showed up. He liked it, the spot that I was in, because he got a good view. He fought me for it and won. It don't mean I own the spot or it's his. It just means by law, he must be removed from that spot, and I have the right to be there because simply I was there first, man. If you standing anywhere in nature, that's your territory. If someone want to stand where you standing at, They got to forcefully move you away from that spot. I'm simplifying it so we can get, because it's going to be a lot of bull crap today. Shout out to D-Dub exclusive. Bro Sanchez, it's a world agenda to keep us away from our true identity. It seems as if it is forbidden, like the tree of knowledge in Eden. Could be who we were as FBA. Finding out who we are is how to get back to Eden. I'm going to answer that right now. The reason why no other group in the world go through what we go through when it comes to self-identifying, it's because when the people in power, who we call small hats, when they forge history, here go the kicker. When these people forged themselves into history and gave themselves an identity, some of the lands that they started to claim for themselves, we were the original occupants. That's why I gave you the park analogy about me and my family at the park. Because a person will always say, well, don't nobody own none of this stuff. But they don't say that until the invader grab it. Like, for some reason, that don't come up until. But let me give a shout out to Marlon Wells. How many times have you heard a wise man say, free your mind and your ass will follow? Facts. These are facts. Thank y'all. Thanks, Marlon Wells, for the support. We finna work our way to Tariq Nasheed. I want to take my time. Listen. Tariq Nasheed is a Pan-African, y'all. What is a Pan-African? It is a person that believes, because y'all think Pan-Africans is just one thing. It's so many ways you can be a Pan-African, just like it's so many roads to Christianity, through the Vatican, through Roman Catholicism, through unorthodox Judaism. It's so many roads to Christianity, and buddy, they like apples and oranges. What's right at one church may be wrong at another one. Right. You got to understand something about the Aboriginal and FBA movement, that's true for that too. Let me explain something about Tariq Nasheed. People must have forgot Tariq Nasheed's whole FBA movement, which I am behind. I support it. I ain't hacking it. I'm letting you know why Tariq Nasheed ain't an Aboriginal. See, you got FBAs and you got Aboriginals. Why ain't they together? I'm trying to give you the game. You see, Aboriginals identify through history. FBAs identify through politics. I'm a FBA because I think we should get reparations. I'm a FBA because I agree that my ancestors helped build a foundation of America. I'm FBA because on a political sense, I want to control the narrative when it comes to tangibles and black people. Got that my Tariq for that. Why am I also an Aboriginal? Because when it comes to me saying that I'm foundationally Black American, it means when I say it, that my bloodline, my lineage, because Tariq Nasheed will tell you that FBA is a lineage-based movement. He'll tell you that. That's right. However, he will tell you that your lineage trace back to Africa. And a lot of FBAs who follow Tariq Nasheed, they don't catch that part. They miss that part. They ignore that part. They try to act like he don't teach that when the man do. Tariq Nasheed teaches that black people in America are our own group of people, exclusive to anybody else. But we only became that way through ethnogenesis. So Tariq Nasheed is explaining our current condition as black people in America as a mutation, a deformity, a result of a mishap that happened to us, transformed us to the people you see today, and I disagree with that. Ethnogenesis refers to the process by which a new ethnic group is formed, often involving the merging, splitting, or transformation of existing groups. So what Tariq Nasheed is teaching is that the black man in America is a deformed African. The black man in America is a transformed African. He's his own group, but he's only his own kind of African because he broke off, he split from the original, which is what ethnogenesis is, a splitting. So the argument that Tariq Nasheed is making is still that we came over here on boats. That's right. Now, I just gave you the game on what separates FBAs from aboriginals. And the gap in the middle is going to always be there until we get this right. That's why I'm making this stream. Most of the people who at the top of FBA are Pan-Africans. Let's tell the truth, it's not an aboriginal movement. It's only American-centered when it comes to reparations and politics and owning up to the fact that the country was built on the backs of my people. But it's deeper than that. My people never came from West Africa. If you're an aboriginal, you know that. You know that one of the fights when it comes to us trying to self-identify to the world is debunking the transatlantic slave trade. A lot of people don't know that Tariq Nasheed subscribes to the transatlantic slave trade. Now, he don't teach that all black people came over here on slave ships, but he don't have to because he subscribes to the out of Africa theory. And the out of Africa theory just teaches that every human in the world comes from Africa anyway. I got a problem with that. I don't believe those theories. It ain't a fact. And my identity can't be based on no damn theories. I'm gonna say that again. You wanna know why black people in America don't have an identity? You have a theory of who you are. You're in the process of, we're loading, we're buffering, bitch, we figuring it out. So everyone know who you are, but you, because you want to play science with the world. Yeah, play science. It's a game, nigga. If you think we all evolved from Australopithecus and a chimp human evolved to become a cell phone using football playing type human, something wrong with you. If you think the universe started from a random Big Bang and somehow you got perfect spheres in the sky called a sun and moon. Now I want you to just understand that everything we've been taught ain't the truth, and it's okay to challenge historians. Now that that's out the way, let me get back to doing my challenging. Tariq Nasheed subscribes to the Pan-African. He's a Pan-African. Let's just put that on the table. A lot of people not gonna like that. You see, there's levels to FBA and Aboriginal ideology. And the level I'm at with it is that we didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us, brothers and sisters. Now, Tariq Nasheed has a very big movement. And like I said, I ain't hating on it, but I'm going to tell you the truth. Tariq Nasheed don't think that black people in America always been here. You can't think that and also subscribe to the out of Africa theory, which says that every human on every continent is just an African that came to that continent at some point in time and mutated. In other words, every continent in the world was empty. There were no humans there. Until Africans decided, let's explore and see what's over there. Oh, nobody is there. So we're going to be the first everywhere. If you believe that is silly. that there were lands that like there were grass, there trees, there animals there, but there wasn't no humans there until the Africans showed up. Nature put every other creature in every land, but decided, I'm going to just put humans only in Africa. And if they don't spread, they just don't spread. Good luck. I'm going to put every other animal and flower and tree all over the earth from the jump, from the get-go. But humans, I'm going to just put the humans right here in this little spot and see if they spread. I think that'll be fun. Let's see, you think they gonna spread? Let's bet on it. How much money you got? Ain't that fun? Yeah, that's dumb. That's dumb. So now let me show you what would be the word? Let me show you the cure or solution if a group of people have went through ethnogenesis, this would be the solution for those group of people. So it says, if basically ethnogenesis is a process by which a group of people becomes ethnically distinct from all other groups. This process can be driven by various factors, including what? Self-identification, external identification, or a combination of both. Stop right there. We finna get deep with the lesson. The main two ways that ethnogenesis changes a person's ethnicity and make them a distinct group is basically through self-ID or external forces. Now, in the case of black people, it wasn't self-ID. We haven't been able to self-identify ever since slavery started in this land. Now, here's the kicker. Slavery is real. People will say, so you saying we ain't Africans, you denying slavery? I'm saying that black people always been in America from the beginning of time. And when these slave masters showed up on ships, they landed on Plymouth Rock. We didn't land on them. Like, we didn't show up over here. They showed up over here. We was already here, and then they started enslaving us. Look at it this way. We didn't even understand like how to own humans, and like this was new to us, but the whole thing was, look at domestication. Look at the people in power, how they able to make an elephant jump through a fire loop at the circus. Look at how they able to tame a lion. Look at how they able to domesticate vicious animals that was in the jungle. And they can have those animals getting haircuts like poodles and stuff. They on a different diet. If you look at the dogs in our houses, they couldn't survive in nature with the wolves. Now, Darwin, who was a slave master family, who was a racist, I don't care what nobody say, he came with evolution. And that was during slavery. That was when black people, when they came with the theory of evolution, they was saying that you're not even a full human. You got to keep that in mind. That when they came with the theory of evolution, they was saying black people weren't even fully human. So listen, what you got to realize is this. They domesticated the people on this land who used to be Olmecs, Mayan, Aztecs, you name it. Let's just call them wild humans, like wild animals. What's the opposite of a wild animal? A domesticated one. So it ain't evolution that made everyone who they are today. It's massive scale terraforming the earth and domesticating not only animals, but humans, flowers, plants, foods. The people in power are control freaks, and they want everything to be tamed and controlled. Even down to a microscopic level, your DNA needs to be monitored, controlled. I can't really fully explain to you the level of control freaks I'm talking about. It's on a whole nother, it's satanic. Shout out to Sister Betty. Thank you, Sister Betty. She says, my family is not from Africa. We are from the American soil. We were always here. Foreigners will not dictate my family history. That's right. These are facts. We're going to open up the round table for smoke. I know some Pan-Africans are going to step up. We're going to do it respectful. No, this ain't me us hating Africans or hating Africa. It's just us loving us. That's right. Like, everyone gets to self-identify. And when they do it, they're not called divisive. They're called intelligent, smart. So it's two main factors when it comes to ethnogenesis, and I would sum them up as internal and external. We didn't become who we are today by self-identifying. We came who we are today by accepting the identity that the scholars told us who we are. Why? Person asked, this is Sanchez, why they do that to us? What's the point? Why that's so important to them? You got to realize slaves weren't able to self-identify. Listen to me, people. Asking someone, who are you, is 100% associated with being a human being. When they changed the law of the land, we talking paper genocide is so deeper than what we talk about. Because it's a reason they wanted to make you less of a human. See, in order for them to claim ownership over something that was yours, it'll be like me going into a land, right? Let's say I buy some property. I buy me a couple of acres of land. You think when I go settle on my land that I just bought, that I'm gonna ask the birds, the cows, the chickens, can I build in a spot? It's my land, I'm a human. If I buy some acres of land, I don't care if a bird built a nest on that tree. If I wanna cut the tree down, I'm gonna cut it down. I don't care that there are some deers who built the house over here. It's my land, I don't care, they gotta move. So, if there was a human on that land, it'll be different. So what I'm telling you is when the colonizer had to justify by law to the world why it's okay to take this group of people land and not that group of people land. And how they did it was by saying this group of people are not even human. Who cares what a cow think about the land? Who asks a cow, who are you? Do you walk up to a chicken and greet it? Once you say that a group of people ain't fully human, no one cares who an animal is. No one walks up to a dang on giraffe and say, tell me your family history. We do that to humans. So the people who don't have a history are slaves. Slaves are property, like my dog, my cat. When someone walk in my house, they not gonna greet my animals. They're gonna greet the humans in the house. So the slaves were looked at on the level of a dog. The slaves were looked at on a level of cattle, cows, chickens. In fact, a lot of people value chickens and cows over slaves. Because there were slaves that were lynched for stealing chickens. So I'm trying to let you tap into the mentality of the time, because without this mindset, you are blind. You're lost when you try to see what was going on and why things happen and why they see you a certain way, why the theory of evolution was created. These people are so evilly, wickedly genius that they said in order for us to be first economically, we're going to have to make black people first in evolution if we want to be first in economics. You got two E's. You got two E's, and these are two very important E's. One of them is evolution. One of them is economics. The people who at the top of economics, they at the bottom of evolution. The people who at the top of evolution, they at the bottom of economics. Let me explain something to you. Science have created a system of governing people economically based upon who they are scientifically. And I know some of y'all are thinking, but Sanchez, that's eugenics. Wake up. Yes, welcome to the reality we're in. So Sanchez, are you telling me that eugenics run the world? Yes. The people in power are genetically targeting specific groups based upon who they think should be on the earth and should not be on the earth. Yes. Welcome to reality. Clap it up for the people that just clicked in their damn head. Now listen, in order for them to legally and scientifically, ethnically cleanse a group of people, they have to dehumanize them first. By science, they got to say that this group of people is equal to the beast of the field. And now when we reduce that group of people less than human, we can take all of their stuff, just like if I go to some land and it's only dogs on the land, I can take that land from dogs. Now somebody may say, that's wrong, only if they work for PETA, because humans don't care when it comes to it. The way we think is humans first. And the way that we wrote laws in the world were based upon humans being at the top of the ecosystem. So in order for you to practice injustice or inequality on a group of people, you got to take away their very human status. You got to take away their human status. And that's what they did to black people before they can even enslave you. They had to convince the world that you weren't even human, and that me beating this black man up is no different than us running up on a buffalo or something in the woods. Who cares if we lynch a buffalo? So make some shoes out of them. You'll use them for something. We only will care when you talk that's the law of the land. So based upon that, the workaround, if I want to take some from someone, I can't take from another human. See, the law ain't, you can't steal from a dog. If a dog got a stick in his mouth and I snatch it out the dog mouth, I don't get a theft charge. But if a little child is holding that stick and I snatch it away from him, that can possibly be assault. That can be a lot of in other words, the law was written in mind for humans. So, of course, but I'm just showing you how even if you torture a dog, the law ain't gonna punish you like if you torture a human. You will get out of jail. You know what I'm saying? But the point of me telling you this is why the world was able to sit back and watch slavery take place. Because in their mind, the people that was going through this aren't even human. They had to psychologically mind fuck the whole world to make them view you different before they can even start the witch hunt and the slaughter. And so this is important to know, because you can't just say this group of people ain't human. You got to prove it scientifically. But since there is no proof, we only stuck with a bunch of theories. And one of them is the theories of evolution, and one of them is the out of Africa theory. They work together. And they are not there to really tell the world how humans evolved from Australopithecus. They're there to have a scientific excuse to why one group of people is primitive in their actions versus the rest of the world. When the whole world look at black people, they ask a question. You gotta put yourself outside of the shoes of an American, and you gotta look at black people from outside lenses. When the whole world look at us, they say, damn, why they so violent? Why they culture is about killing, bling, bling, all this goofy, you know, loud shit. Now, let me go into this. When other cultures ask the people in power these questions about why black people are this way, they say because their genetics are primitive, and we can prove it with science. Now, this is where it gets deep. Because according to science, and this is the foundation of all eugenics, what I'm about to give you. According to science, the first people on earth have the less evolved DNA. That would be black people. We have, in other words, we're the most related to Australopithecus, which is why when the paleontologists find a monkey bitch in the ground named Lucy, he say, this ain't my great-great-grandma. This black people's great-great-grandma. See, no one claimed, think about this. They're digging up bones, finding the original ancestors of the human species. And don't y'all find it strange that the most powerful people in the world don't want no lineage and no ties to that DNA? The monkey DNA, the Australopithecus DNA, every group in the world that's tied to that is at the bottom of economics. Because in science, they're teaching that the latest DNA to come on the planet is the most evolved. You got to use your head and think about what I'm saying. Science is racist because it's teaching that the later that your people showed up to the earth, the more wiser and smarter they are, because DNA had a chance to evolve for so many years. What they teaching is that early DNA is stupid. It's primitive. It's Flintstone, chicken bone in your hand and a bone in your nose, barefoot. This is what they're teaching. Early DNA among humans didn't even have soap. They're teaching that man got wise and intelligent as the human DNA evolved over time. So as the human DNA evolved, you start getting these other groups that's not the original people. This is meaning that the Johnny-come-latelys are the intelligent humans and the early humans are the dumbasses. And people are believing this science that they're teaching around the world is tied into the Bible, manifest destiny, and all of that. You got to understand, you just can't say, we don't like black people. Let's take all they shit. Let's exterminate them and poison them and put them in the prison pipeline system. Let's give them drugs, gangs, all that shit. You just can't say, let's do that to them people and you don't have a way to justify it. Ain't nobody gonna get behind you just picking on somebody for no reason. But if they say, why you picking on them people? Why y'all doing them like that? And you say, oh, these ain't people. These are a different kind of animal that we discovered called a nagger, Nigger, right? And every animal that they discover, they get to name it. I'm trying to give y'all some game. Every animal, they discovering new species right now. They ain't discovering it, they making it in a laboratory. But anyway, they genetically modified our people and then said nature did that, evolution did that. Now, the further back, now here's what's so crazy about their whole theory. The out of Africa theorists said that the first humans was dumb as hell. But when we woke up and started saying, you know what, I'm not an African, I'm an Aboriginal, I'm indigenous, I'm foundational Black American. When we woke up and we didn't want to be African no more, just because we weren't excited about being first, we wanted to be who we are, right? That wasn't working no more. Then they brought in what's called Hotepping, which is, why don't you want to identify with Africa when they was the wisest? They built the pyramids. The Africans started technology, Freemasonry. Then the Hotep movement came. But see, that was a response that came in the 70s. That was a response to Black people waking up back in the day. That's right. And saying, we ain't from Africa. We've been saying we Indians. But check this out, right? On one hand, they say that the first humans was dumb as hell. But we didn't care about that long as we can say we the original humans of the world. We didn't see that they was calling us dumb monkeys, though. But when we woke up and said, no, that ain't us, then they said, well, y'all can be Egyptians now. So now we got this concept of the very first humans, the original people on earth being the Egyptians or the pyramid builders. And I'm like, wait a minute, this Pan-African theory has evolved so much. It has evolved like the damn AIDS virus. Every time they find a cure for one form of HIV, it transforms to some other shit. That's the Pan-Africans and they damn arguments, y'all. Okay, so first we was just first monkeys. We was just monkeys who was first. And that was enough for us because we was telling the whole world everybody came from us. But then we said, but wait a minute, I don't want to be no damn monkey no more. And besides, we look more like these Olmecs. See, we started the way this Aboriginal FBA shit is older than what this YouTube internet shit is. I'm telling you, because coming from Alabama, I've been hearing folks say that we Indians and that we've been here, but we didn't think none of it though. Because when the internet came, that's when the Pan-African movement started to blow up and it became a big debate, but it was never no debate. It was no one, hey man, this was, why you think they got the Florida State Seminoles and the Washington Redskins? Who you think that is? What? Show me a mahogany skinned group of people, right? That fit the description of the copper-colored Indian from West Africa, because now we finna go surgical with this shit right now, because ethnogenesis is the process by which a new ethnic group is formed from an old one. But here go the nail in the coffin right here, bro. If we are a bunch of West Africans that came to America as West Africans, but over time we got ethnically cleansed, we went through ethnogenesis and we became this hip hop to hibbit to the hibbit to the hip. We came this tennis shoe wearing ass black dude that's don't look nothing like an African. Now check this out, right? They want you to think a bunch of West Africans came over here 400 years ago and got stuck, and all of a sudden they stopped wearing dashikis and started wearing Kangos and Adidas. Now watch this, y'all. Let me show you how silly this shit is. You got Africans coming to America right now, and they ain't going through ethnogenesis. You know what they going through? Tethergenesis, nigga. Listen, they trying to say Africans came over here and became black people through ethnogenesis. You know what I see? I see Africans coming over here right now and becoming black people through cosplaying and tethering it up. They flipping it, y'all. They trying to say Africans came over here and then they became black Americans over time. So when the African come over here from West Africa and they don't practice their own culture, they act black, we call them a tether. But if we're all Africans, they would be doing what we did quicker than us. Ethnogenesis is nothing but an African becoming a black person over a long period of time. But what you call tethering is an African becoming a black person overnight. And I'm saying if he's one of us, it shouldn't matter. He doing the same thing. It's an African transforming into this new kind of African called a black person. I always see Africans coming over here transforming into niggas, but it ain't through ethnogenesis. It's through cosplaying and tethering it up. And what make you think is any different today? Let me show y'all this. I showed y'all the Olmec statues the other day where the man had a doggone box fade. And you can't go to West Africa and find a box fade. Why they don't want us to see this? Oh, buddy, let me pull it back up for him. We ain't gonna let that off the hook. We finna read the donations too. Hold on a minute. We not letting it off the hook. Hold on. Hold up a second. I gotta pull it up. Check this out, bro. El Negro. Listen, man, this statue ain't in West Africa, man. It's time to wake up, bro. Now, look, this statue is in a museum. This is a I had a brother, he corrected me. He said, you know, in the South, we call it an Eddie the Monster. But the brother said it's called a Willow's Peak. Drop it in the chat room real quick. I can't go no further. I gotta get this out. It's a little OCD thing. And this is what I want to know, y'all. What is the little thing called that grow right here? Because when I was coming up in the South, we call it an Eddie the Monster. You remember Eddie the Monster from Addams Family? He had a little point right here. A lot, listen, only black people grow that shit. And when listen, this is not me being divisive. I'm trying to find features to prove the historians wrong. A widow's peak, a Eddie the Monster, and a widow's peak. Now watch this, y'all. Here go a statue called El Negro, and it's not in West Africa. You gotta ask yourself, why when they go to Africa, they finding monkey bitches? But when they come to America, they finding niggas with high top fades on their head.
Oh my God!
Now it's time to wake your ass up. I bet you nobody never made you think about that shit. Huh? Now listen, you gotta understand now, the only Negro features that's in Africa is the statues in Egypt. Y'all ain't hearing me. You ain't hearing me. Listen what I'm telling you. All around the world, the statues are Negroid, but the bones are monkey motherfuckers. Man, y'all better listen up. I'ma say it again so you can peep game. I think it's going over your head. You can't, listen, the people who left these statues behind, they was telling the world who they were. And just like we're going through today, they don't want us to tell the world who we are. The historians want to tell the world who we are. And somebody may say again, why, Sanchez? Because it ties into ownership. Slaves can't self-identify because they're not really fully human. You're not a full human. You don't get full human rights. So no one asks a dog, who are you? You only ask another human being, who are you? And then that human will tell you their history, their story. But if you're a slave, when the slave masters are getting acquainted with each other, You put your head down like a dog. You're like a prop you like a mop leaning up against the wall. You're a product. You no different than a roach on the table. When the master's talking, you not even notice. You like furniture. You just a thing that they use, your property. And you got to understand the mentality of the people in power to realize what I'm trying to give you here. You want to know why don't they want you to have an identity? Because for you to have an identity means you first got to gain liberation. Being able to identify yourself is synonymous with becoming sovereign. This is facts. You want to know who ain't sovereign on this earth? The people on the earth who everybody else is telling who they are. Them the people who ain't got no rights for real. Now, the people who run shit, they let the world know who they are. But the crazy thing about them people who run everything, right? The world will believe they fake identity over our true identity. That's right. Yeah. You see, we're just telling the world who we are and we telling the truth. But they're forcing an identity for themselves with military power, and their identity is a false one. We talking the small hats. The small hats say that they the children of God. They're the real Hebrews. That they're the real Israelites. And they'll forge their identity. No one really know who these people are. They're pirates. Far as I'm concerned, they only land is ships. They don't have solid ground of their own. We're talking about a seafaring creature. And the law of the sea has become the law of the land. These people we're called Dagon, merman, just like you got mermaid, they got a fish god. But see, I think the fish symbolism is tied to the fact that this may sound crazy to y'all, but I got to cut the camera on for this one. The people in power, they the ones that ain't real humans. They flipped everything. They made us slaves by telling the world we're not fully human. But guess what, y'all? I got some news. They are incubator babies. And the incubator babies or the laboratory experiments, the humanoids, they didn't have full human rights. The humanoids, the incubator babies, took over the world and they flipped the law around. And now they got you under the pirates law. And that's the law of the water, which is the incubator. The incubator ain't nothing but a big ocean. See, all of the babies that was born in an incubator, they don't have no land rights, meaning that these are people that their only land, they would have to build a boat. They would build a boat and they would dock the boat around the coast of your land. And they can claim that boat as solid ground as their homeland. They can have a flag on their boat to represent a nation. I'm telling you, in order for you to have rights as a people, you have to be recognized as a nation. And for you to be recognized as a nation, you got to have ties to the land directly through birthright. If you are an incubator baby, if you was born in a test tube, if you're a lab experiment, or what the Islam call a Yaqub creation, you don't have no original rights to the land. You just born a slave. You are born, it's fucked up, right? Because I'm gonna tell you something. There are a group of people walking this earth. They're not like everyone else. They were experiments. They're not a full human, and they weren't given full human rights, but they grew in numbers and they were able to take over. The thing about this group of people, they never had any land of their own. You may wonder, how can there be a group of people on the earth that ain't tied to no land? They tied to ships. They are pirates. I know that's hard to believe, but everywhere they go, the land already taken already. And you may say, Sanchez, where they original homeland at? They was born in a test tube, nigga. Is it going over your head? Only original people are tied to the land through the womb of a woman. The law that we practice for the heathen flipped it on us now, y'all. They traded places. And the original people, we're now under the law of the animal kingdom. We're now in the animal kingdom. Humans were never in the animal kingdom. Science will literally tell you you're a mammal, you're in the animal kingdom. That's what we used to tell the test tube babies. Humans were always sentient beings, gods, who were given dominion over the animal kingdom. Who told you you were a beast of the field? The same person we told that they was a beast of the field. They traded places on you. But I got news for you. If you go to West Africa, right? If you go to West Africa, you won't find no statues of niggas with high top fades. What's funny about Tariq Nasheed, right? He liked to talk about a FBA hairline, but nigga, you can't find me no FBA hairline in West Africa. Now, when y'all come with the ethnogenesis theory, you gonna have to explain to me how ethnogenesis can change a nigga's whole hairline. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. It's one thing to tell me West Africans came over here and became black people. But I should be able to still go to West Africa and see niggas got the same hairlines. Yeah, that ain't got nothing to do. You can't change that. That's your DNA, bro. Look, the way your hairline grow is part of your DNA, man. Which is why this statue is so important, because this is a box fade, and what make it even more Negro is the editor monster. They had to name it El Negro. This is in South America. Now you gotta ask yourself, how come no South American paleontologists never found no monkey bitches? You never thought about that, huh? All of these paleontologists are going around the world, they're finding monkey bones to say black people come from Australopithecus. But the real discoveries that's being made is buried deep in the jungle of a near history on this land where black people were ruling this bitch. Let me say that again in case you didn't get that. Let me pull up a picture because I don't think you understand what I'm saying. Listen here. The deceivers are going around digging up these, so they planting it there, y'all. They planting it there. Because think about it. What's the chances of a group of people who believe in Darwinism and eugenics finding exactly what they looking for where they said it's gonna be every time? Come on now, you planting that shit there. If a police said every time he put you over, I bet some dope is under here or in there, and he go find it every time, they got to throw that out, man. Come on, Judge. You know he planting it there. The man is telling you where the shit at before he even find it, and he going in that spot 10 out of 10 times and find the exact thing he said was gonna be there. He's not no prophet, no psychic. These people are saying if we dig over here, we should find Lucy's near uncle and relative. But it's people that's been living in South America for years and they never found no monkey bitch. It's Africans that's been living in Africa for years. They dig all the time because they got diamond mines. Akon and Young Jeezy, time to take it easy. Yeah, nigga, Akon them. They down there digging up them diamonds in Africa. Yeah, them Africans be digging all the time for hundreds of years. No African never said, damn, I found my monkey-looking grandmother. You gotta ask yourself, no little child digging in an African mind said, hey, look what I found, uncle. We can sell this Lucy skull in a museum. That's worth more than every diamond we digging today. Think about it. If I'm an African digging for diamonds, I'm hoping I come across an Australopithecus bone, cause that's gonna get my whole family up out the damn hood, nigga. They selling diamonds for a nickel, a dime each. But if you find you a Lucy skull and they don't give you 6 figures for that, then we know it's bullshit. Come on now. Ain't no damn African ever found no Australopithecus bones. But white folks keep showing up over there finding exactly. You know how big the continent of Africa is? You got a team of paleontologists, is no more than 20 of them. And Africa is a big ass continent, bro. And they know exactly where to go to find the monkey bitch at. Even though the Africans been there the whole time and they couldn't find their great grandmother, they damn self. She was under the ground the whole time with her monkey looking ass buried under all that dirt. Y'all been digging these diamonds for all these years. If you found one monkey bitch, then we need to find her family. I motherfuckers keep telling me about Bigfoot. I want to find Smallfoot. It can't just be one adult-sized Bigfoot in the jungle with no children, no female. Who he mating with all these years? The motherfucker, is he aging? It's the same age every photo. Is he getting old? Bigfoot look like he aging in reverse. The nigga climbing trees like it was yesterday, even though the first spotting was, damn it, was in the 70s or something. You look at a picture of Bigfoot today, that black hair ain't turned gray yet. God damn it, he wearing Rogaine. Is Bigfoot dyeing his hair? This is ridiculous. Where Smallfoot's at? Everybody that keep finding the monkey motherfuckers can't find their own ancestors, but every time they find mine, it's a damn monkey motherfucker. And when the real researchers find something that's related to Sanchez, it ain't no bones, it's a statue. Because guess what? My people told the world who they was, so you can never get the shit twisted for years to come. Why you think they made them big ass Olmec heads, man? Because it's always, they know that ownership comes with self-identifying. That's right. People who don't know who they are lost in a mother. But let me quit. I'm just saying. These people want, you think it's ego, right? You think it's ego that a person made a statue that looked like them. Oh, that's egotistical, Sanchez. They carving big old statues of themselves. That's so you can never forget who you are, who was on this land. People do it today. They say, I was here. Even if they using the restroom, such and such was here. They want somebody to know that they was here before. You see it even at the football game on the bleachers, such and such was here. This was our ancestors' way of letting you know we been here. We was here. These are Negroid statues. They even named this statue El Negro, but no Pan-African will teach you about this. And guess what? When they do show you this, they'll say this is a West African that came to America before the transatlantic slave trade, you stupid. You see where we got them at? You see what I just did? You see what I just did? See, because the Pan-Africans' whole plight is based upon the transatlantic slave trade. He's saying you black people went over here. You niggas went over here prior to the transatlantic slave trade. And that's why a Pan-African will never show you this statue. This statue is older than the transatlantic slave trade. And it's a black man that's right over here in Americas. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us, fool. Uh-huh. You know, how come Pan-Africans like to point me to Kemet when there's black statues in America? You know why? They want to show you something that can look like black people in Africa, because they said every human in the world come from Africa. Africans were first. That's a lie. They don't want you to see a Negro presence in America prior to the transatlantic slave trade, y'all. They don't, and when they start glitching when that happened, they start saying stuff like, this ain't no black man right here, this is an Asian. Look at El Negro. Even the people that discovered this statue is calling it El Negro. But the Pan-African will tell you this somebody else. But see, the Pan-Africans keep digging up monkey bitches. I'm trying to give you some game now. The Pan-Africans and their paleontologists keep digging up Sasquatch. And every time we find a Negro statue in the jungle that shows the black man's presence around the world prior to any slavery, prior to him coming up on any ship, they got to just discredit it all together and say, it's just not you. It's just not you. Why? Because they said so. And when you say, well, where I'm at, they point you back to the monkey bitch again. Everybody get to point at a statue in their land and say, yeah, this from my ancestors. If you go to people's land around the world, they got huge statues in that land that's sacred to them. It's older than every child, everybody that has been there before all of them, and it's what connects them to their ancestors. You can't connect to the statues and monuments on this land because you're connecting with science. You're connecting with paleontology. You're connecting with evolution, Darwinism, and that's making you think less of yourself. Now you think you're a monkey damn person. Now you think you have this flawed sense of self-identity, which links you to Australopithecus versus intelligent black people that's always had fades and cornrows. What if I told you every damn thing we doing today, we've been doing that same shit in this same land way before the transatlantic slave trade? That's right. What if I told you that? From cornrows to you name it, eating collard greens and sweet potatoes, right? You name it, man. We been doing it. This is not no new culture that just was made because a bunch of West Africans went through ethnogenesis. This is a group of people that always was, always have been, and always will be, nigga. That's right. All right, we had an hour and a half, man, and let me go and start opening this thing up. Tariq Nasheed is wrong about ethnogenesis, and he's slyway a Pan-African. And I'm telling you, being wrong about ethnogenesis is serious. It ain't no small wrong. It's a big deal, man. And is something either he need to debate somebody. If he don't want to debate me, he can debate Dane Calloway. That's somebody of a bigger status for him. But the bottom line is, it's very few people that's saying we just didn't land on Plymouth Rock. We've been here. And a lot of people that you think is Aboriginal FBA, they still will go and turn around and give you some Pan-African at the end of it. And you don't know that. Yeah, because Tariq Nasheed do a good job of defending FBA on a political stance, but he just turn around and undo the whole thing from a historical perspective. Because you can't really joke on Africans as hard as he do and then say that we were still West Africans who went through ethnogenesis, bro. And the Africans over there are saying, we ain't none of them. They never lost no tribe of people. They got all they goddamn people in numbers. You can't argue with them people. Think about that. If 12 million motherfuckers got lost from West Africa, don't you know how many West Africans will be over here trying to reunite with their family right now? Don't you know how many reunions would be going on? 12 million people. 12 million. From a small little section of Africa. And you mean to tell me ain't nobody in West Africa did a head count and said, hey, we missing somebody. Let's go get our people. So the people who in West Africa is saying, we ain't never had a group of people. What the hell are you talking about? We got all our people. And if we did lost 12 million of our people, we would be trying to reunite and search for them. I'm pretty sure the West Africans would feel that way about their brothers, sisters, cousins, aunties. Come on now. They ain't gonna be pieces of crap. Yeah, we lost 12 million people, so forget them. They just black Americans today practicing hip hop and we don't care nothing about them. They used to be our people. They from West Africa, but through ethnogenesis, we separated, so fuck them now. And now we beefing with each other, calling each other tethers. And now it's a war with them. Now, come on. How are we the same people and we this divided? And like I said, I got a assignment for Tariq Nasheed lip licking ass. I want him to go to West Africa and find me a goddamn statue of a nigga with a box fade. I'm telling you, I'll wait. Come on now. You ain't gonna find me no damn El Negro in Africa. The only Negroid creature you gonna find in Africa is a monkey bitch. You see what they doing, y'all? The only Negro creature that they want to link the black man in America to in Africa is Australopithecus. When it's statues around the world that's telling who we are. We don't need the monkey theory. And this is when I say that these people are forging a history, their self. See, what does it look like to delete black people's history? This is what it looked like. To force Australopithecus on them for their identity. Why you think the whole world call you a monkey? Why you think that's like a racial slur toward black people? Because Darwin, Charles Darwin, his cousin was a eugenics. So what do you think now? This is what you gotta realize now. Charles Darwin had a famous cousin. I forgot his name, but he was a eugenics. But people will swear up and down Darwin ain't no eugenics. Now your cousin is a eugenicist, and you come out with the theory of evolution, which is what the eugenicists use to try to say that black people's DNA is least evolved. Come on now. You telling me Darwin ain't a racist piece of crap and a eugenicist, but he laid the foundation that the eugenicists use. And in order for it to work, they got to push Australopithecus on black people. They got to ignore the fact that it's statues all around the world with Negro features that was there before the transatlantic slave trade. They got to ignore El Negro because they too busy trying to give you monkey bitch. You see what's going on? If the moment you identify with these statues, guess what? By squatters' law, we can prove we was here first, which gives us rightful ownership to the land. That's why I used to hurt. That's why I went through that whole analogy about sitting in the park, man. That's why I went through the analogy about sitting in the park. If I occupy a territory by natural law, if someone else say, hey, I like the spot you sitting in, I want to sit there, move. I can stand my ground and say, hey, man, I was here first. They can say, but you don't own that land. I own the territory. See, these are tricky words. The words get tricky. You got to think that the territorial laws are what give person rights to the land, because every natural creature is warranted space. It's simple. The people who have the most authority in this land are the ones who've been here the longest. Point blank, period. That's how the law works. And the people who are in charge right now have convinced everyone that they've been here the longest. And it ain't that they've been here the longest, it's that you ain't been here that long. And that you showed up when they showed up on a slave. But why you think when the slave master showed up, he saw us already squatting on the land. We was here first, but he wanted the land. And what did I just tell you? If I'm occupying a territory that somebody else won't, it's too bad. It's a musical chairs type law. I was here first is the name of the rule. If I was here first, anybody try to move me is breaking the law. And you can't say, well, don't none of us own this land, but it's my territory. I don't own the land, but I'm not going to keep running from you every time I occupy a space because you want to go where I'm at. See how the law works? This is what I'm telling you. In order for the people in power to just show up and assume all power, they got to make it like, hey, when we showed up, it wasn't nobody here. And when somebody say, well, where did all them black people come from? We brought them here with us. We brought them here with us. The colonizer had to convince the whole world that he brought his slave here on the ship with him. And that way, his slave can never claim ownership to the land through territorial rights, which means our people was occupying Plymouth Rock before you showed up. If the argument come up in 2025, a historical argument based upon who been here first, they'll cancel out the fact that we've been here first by coming with the transatlantic slave trade. And they'll say, oh, them niggas just showed up when we showed up. So they created a way you can't argue no rights to the land, because the only way you can do that is if somebody say, look, man, them people was there for y'all showed up. Give them they shit and leave them alone. See, what they saying is y'all leave. If you don't like America, black people leave. No, we love this land until the colonizer showed up. You got a lot of coons that'll say, well, I'm thankful for slavery because if it weren't for slavery, I wouldn't have never made it to America. Somebody need to tell them that we didn't land on Plymouth Rock, it landed on us. You got a lot of folks that'll say that. I'm glad we went through slavery because we ended up in America. You been in America. And somebody you was minding your, think about this now. If somebody show up and a bunch of people already occupying the land, they just can't take that shit from them people. That's wrong. They occupying it. How do they make it right legally? They lie about it, and they lie about history. They say, look, man, when we showed up, wasn't nobody here. They say when we showed up, they'll give you somebody that's working for them like a fake Indian, a $5 Indian, some agent. They'll say it was his people there. They'll be like, yeah, my people was here first, man. And all the historians and paleontologists, they'll say, yeah, his people was here first. Here's your people right here, Sanchez, the monkey bitch, remember? Remember, Sanchez, quit trying to claim other people's stuff. Here's your people right here. You're a monkey man. That's what they do to us. And they say, man, you hate yourself. Sanchez, you self-hate. You don't want to be an African. I don't want to be a monkey. If being African means being Australopithecus, I'm good because I can find myself right here in Plymouth Rock. I can find El Negro statue right here. You can find Olmec statues look like me right now, right here. I don't gotta go deal with the paleontologists' forgeries and deceptions when they can't find their own damn ancestors, but they saying that they keep finding mines, and every time they introduce me to it, it's a monkey, bitch. You better miss me with that. Let's give a shout out to Panama Jack. He said, I'm from Florida. We can tell Haitians by their line, by the hairline, y'all. You know, because blacks and Haitians, they don't identify as the same group. Now, we all brothers and sisters, but it's like tribes, different. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying. You can tell each tribe by their identity and all that. But check this out. Let me see here. Sister Betty. Oh, I already read these. I already read them all. Marlon said, I forgot the name on the author of this quote. Make the Indian disappear, but the man still be here. Could have been Walter Plecker or someone in the planning of our history or his story writers for displacement from the land. That's right! At this time, the call line is open and we welcome opposition. I don't like an echo chamber. So what I do to encourage opposition is basically let you talk, because a lot of channels, opposition don't get no love. But over here, we'll be respectful. We'll let you give your pushback, and we'll let you have however much time you need to counter anything that I've said that you may not agree with. Shout out to the people joining right now. We about to open up the calls in just a minute. Shout out to Demi. Shout out to Marlon. Thank y'all for joining me here today. But peace. Yeah, peace, y'all. Shout out to Rumham Solo for gifting memberships. Thank you. Shout out to Demi. Hold up. Shout out to Marlon. We got a lot of people in here right now. How many people? Almost 2,000. So guess what I'm gonna do? I'm going to gift memberships. Like and share the video. Keep the numbers up. And you never know when I'm going to gift memberships. So you make sure that you are present. Make sure that you are present when we go live. You don't want to miss the live streams. I try to go live when I know that you guys get out of work around 5 or whenever. That's my time. I'm on Pacific time, but I just gifted 5 memberships. I'm not able to choose who get the memberships. It's random. It's random, right? So don't get mad at me if you're a day one and you didn't get one from me, because I don't choose them. But I did gift 5 memberships. It's random. So that way you want to join every live stream, because you may just get gifted a membership. Let's allow the callers to keep joining. And while that happened, we're going to play the song.
Yeah, yeah. This is not a spoof, I got proof. When you the truth, all of these haters be hella mad at you. I be in the booth full of goose, avoiding chickens, doing what the fuck I'm supposed to do. You trying to stop my plan, know that you's a fan, throwing rocks and hiding your hands. All you got is fam, heard that from my grams when she was watching Silence of the Lambs. Swear I tell you no lies, as days go by, I be wiping more tears from my eyes. Had to swallow my pride to brighten my skies. I'm seeing all these wolves in disguise. They be hating on me every day. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Cause they know that I'm the truth and I let this bitch loose, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. And I be twisting up that backwoods, rolling through them backwoods, yeah. My haters can't move forward cause they got this shit backwards, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Life is one big road with lots of signs. When you ride through the ruts, don't complicate your mind. Flee from hate, mischief, and jealousy. Don't bury your thoughts, put your vision to reality. Now if you not a fluke and you the truth, put your hands in the air like you raising the roof. Ever since a youth, I've been hater proof. All my dogs woof, it's cloudy in the booth. You don't stand a chance, you know that you's a stand. Wanna see me stuck inside a can. All you got is fam. Heard that from my grams when she was cooking cornbread and yams. Swear I tell you no lies. As days go by, I be wiping more tears from my eyes. Had to swallow my pride to brighten my skies. I'm seeing all these wolves in disguise. They be hating on me every day. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Cause they know that I'm the truth and I let this bitch loose, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. And I be twisting up that backwoods, rolling through them backwoods, yeah. My haters can't move forward cause they got this shit backwards, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yo, peace and love, man. Check me out. Make sure if y'all like that song, you can download it by using the link that's pinned to the top. That's called Every Day. And yeah, that one is ready for to be downloaded for whoever want to, grab that single, man. So I will be having a lot of these distributed through DistroKid because what was going on was I was trying to figure out what company I need to be trying to distribute my music through. Shout out to you, Marcel McSwain. Welcome back, bro. And Jay Santos, Sterling, everybody. I'm about to, yeah. I finally decided I'm gonna do it with DistroKid. My bad, I'm talking on mute, but what's good, Marcel? Welcome back, bro, and to Jay Santos and everybody in Sterling. Yeah, I'm very like OCD. I look into all the platforms and see what's what. Cause I be hearing rumors, but if y'all know some, just let me know. But I'm gonna keep the show going. We got callers on. Let's get the callers on. Let's get the callers on, man. We'll start with whoever wanted first. Welcome. Welcome. We got 5 people on right now. And
welcome, Sanchez. How you doing, man? Salute to you on the panel.
Yeah. Talk to him. Salutes, man.
Salute, man. Before you close out the show, man, can you do me a favor, man? Could you go through you remember you did the math and show like the slave ship thing didn't work out, like how much ships they're gonna need and you know what I mean, the time they're gonna take to build the ships. Could you just go through that one more time for me?
Oh,
Because you know what happened?
I'm not really at the keyboard now.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm about to screen share in a minute in a second. I'm smoking
man,
out
right
the
now,
I'm
whenever you
smoking
get
out the
time.
door. Yeah, for sure. But y'all got the mic though.
All right, so just peace to the panel.
Peace and love. I'm about to get to the screen share for y'all. I'm hold up a second though. I'm actually
man. No rush.
Hey, if anybody in the chat room want to join, I just dropped the Zoom link. Let's get the callers on. And for the callers that are on, no squatting now. I know the sister Demi, she's quiet. She ain't gonna say much. But salutes to the rest of y'all, man. Let's talk to the people. What brings y'all here today?
Peace and love to everybody, man.
Bro.
Yeah, man. I think a lot of that washing of our history, man, is only here in America. It seems like a lot of places overseas, man, they teach that history to their people. It seems like only here they're trying to hide it. Only here in on this land, you know. I'm Puerto Rican. I'm from, so you guys all know that what that consists of in its entirety. But doing my research in that, just doing that shows the Moors had, a whole kingdom, before, those times. So I mean, there is definitely history before the history that we know, and it is a thriving history, not some people walking out of caves. Technology was there at those times, so I'm with you. I agree on everything.
You know, the sad thing about it is what the Pan Africans do. They say it's disrespectful because I found out the reverse psychology, my brother Santos. What they'll be like, black people came over here on slave ships 400 years ago, and in 400 years we made it to the top of like football, basketball, and all that shit. And they will act like it's so big of an accomplishment. 400 years and we made it, to where we at now. All you niggas got basically was BET. But my whole thing is this right here, right? Our real greatness was hidden behind this fake narrative of in 400 years we became these hippity hoppity black Americans that the world copy off of today and all that right there. The thing is, before any of that, we were gods, man. We had knowledge of like electric. We were geniuses. The people that was on this land, like when El Negro was walking around, they were builders, man. Like they was building beautiful structures that we still looking at today, and we be marveling at them. So they made us think that they was living in teepees. Like you gotta just imagine a bunch of people living in teepees with these big ass stone statues in the background. I'm sleeping in a little teepee though. Like, but these people mastering stonework architecture, but they'll give us that kind of shit. But it's so much we've been lied about. I'm going to turn the mic back over. Yeah, they want us to glorify the idea of you getting off a ship and leading the NFL and rushing out the 400 years, versus you having a huge kingdom prior to that. Yeah.
Hey, I think it goes back to what you said before, man. They switched it up on us, because this is what we was telling them. The slaves took over. You know how they say the inmates took over. That saying. When the inmates took over. It seemed like that flipped. The slaves took over, and now they rewriting history.
Yeah, this whole thing is mostly about the land. It's mostly about displacing us from our ancestors who was here and making it seem like we was all brought here when we were already here, but they needed labor. They didn't want to do their own farming. They didn't come over here even know how to farm. So, they just most of the time they just was writing treaties and going back on the treaties as soon as they get enough people in. Because the real immigrants, that was them coming on the ships. They was immigrating at that time, and so they was just on the edge of the land on the East Coast. And then they was on the West Coast, all through the South America, and or the bottom of South America and Mexico. Got the biggest pyramids in the world in Mexico.
You connected.
I can't hear you. You're breaking up. Yeah, I can hear you. I thought I heard somebody else coming in.
Yeah. Man, I'm just saying, man, it's just Cause a lot of people be like, bro, Sanchez, I'ma holler at you when you get back on like the flat earth stuff. They don't realize that this identity crisis that black folks are going through is tied into the flat earth shit, the evolution shit, and all that. And that's what I was trying to show them today. Because flat earth, but the thing was so deep about flat earth, once you get into ancient cosmology, you get into human origins. And when you get into human origins, you stepping on the out of Africa theory. It's deeper than Sanchez going against Pan-Africans. It's the fact that I teach ancient cosmology, and everything about ancient cosmology goes against evolution, Pan-African theory. So many different groups is gonna have a problem with flat earth. Because teaching it the way the ancestors saw how life started, what the earth is, you're gonna piss off space fanatics, aborigines, you're gonna piss off Moors, Pan-African. They got, man, when you tell the truth, you're gonna piss off all the world's most powerful groups gonna come together against your group.
Oh yeah. When you look at what Israel is doing right now, it's just a repeat of what happened here. Once they get all them people either dead or out the country, in their future history books, they're gonna write them right out of that. You
See,
know what I'm saying?
it's so deep, bro. The flat earth is the tip of the iceberg, because what they ain't trying to, what you're gonna realize is what they really hiding is advanced earth. See, once you realize the earth is flat, you start seeing technology that was designed based on that fact is deeper than the earth being flat. The ancestors taught that the earth was a big Tesla coil. And a lot of FBAs and aboriginals, they don't rock with us because we flat power. We part of the revolution now, but we like the nerds that no one play with. They know we family. But they like, yeah, they flat earthers though. But see, when they see, yeah.
Because when you free your mind from that that narrative, then you start to really analyze everything else. Like the moon landing that fooled everybody. But my father told me, like, when I was a kid, like basically when I was a teenager, he told me that, oh, man, that was something they filmed. Disneyland made that. So they didn't even trick my father. But they had tricked me, but they didn't trick him. He said, man, that was something that they filmed in the studio in Hollywood somewhere.
Yeah.
And right now, I think they're in the bottom of Area 51 pretending they up there in space. That's just
can I speak before that?
Hey, shout out. What happened? Oh, Marcel. I thought Marcel. Oh, yeah, there you go. Shout out the shout out.
Can I speak for a second?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, bro. Look, I wanted to speak on when we were younger men growing up in the South, with me being in Mississippi, how our elders taught us that we were, in fact, Indians. They never told us that we were from Africa.
Right, and then you know what the whole thing is. What I don't like about the Pan-Africans, because they turned it into a joke. I was one of, and Aboriginals gotta admit, if they go back with me, I was one of the first Aboriginals to come with that grandma shit too. That whole, you ain't gonna tell, you ain't gonna make me, like my grandma told me who I am. You who the fuck is the historian?
I remember that.
You feel me?
That, bro.
So they made it a joke now to where the niggas learning from grandma. But check it out, bro. This is what they don't know. What I want to teach y'all. What I was saying earlier. What I ain't teaching y'all. Y'all know this. I'm talking about to them. Is that a group of people's identity was always told by word of mouth. So in other words, if a scientist is telling the world who you are, they acting like you are a damn incubator baby. Think about that now. If I'm a scientist and I genetically modify and create this humanoid, animal like human, let's call it a humanoid. Then the humanoid can't self-identify. Like a robot can't tell the world who it is outside of what I told it is as its maker. If I tell the robot it's a robot, but the robot tells somebody else I'm a dog, I'm going to correct my robot. I'm going to say, no, you're not a dog, you're a robot. And that's how they correct black people. When a black people say, well, I'm an Indian, I've been here. No, you're not. You're an Australopithecus monkey, motherfucker. And you come from Africa. See, nobody else get treated like that other than and I know why they doing it. You know what I'm saying? And so the whole thing be, y'all got it. You know, I could go on and on.
Was they kept, right? But you're right, though. They kept renaming us, reclassifying us. That's why we just lost that connection. And then they just straight made a law that they can hang you if you claim to be an Indian. Why would they make that law? You can Google that. You could go look that up in the history of the laws. That was an actual law.
I'm gonna tell you what I don't like about these folks, man, because they got anthropologies. These anthropologists will go study some of the most remote tribes. Now, we don't know these tribes. Some of these tribes they come in contact with for the first time ever in history. And when they meet these people, they ask them, who are you? How long have y'all been on the earth? Where did your people come from? Tell me about your people. And those people will sit there and tell their whole history while that white anthropologists write it all down and come make books and movies about it to educate us and help us to this new group of people. But the whole thing is this right here. They showing you the way that you supposed to meet, how you get acquainted with groups. Like if some Western anthropologists go to a remote tribe, they're gonna learn about the tribe through the tribe. They ain't gonna tell the tribe about themselves. But here's the kicker. If they colonize that tribe, everything that the tribe taught them about who they were and how that tied to that land, when the colonizer take over that land and that tribe, that colonizer don't want the tribe to tell their real history no more, because their history holds the truth about who originally owned the land.
Facts. That's exactly what happened here.
The problem,
yeah,
I was going to say the problem is that black people, or what we call black today, it changed every 40 years. So like right now, black people are calling themselves FBA, but we just got finished calling ourselves black. 40 years before that, we called ourselves African American. Then 40 years before that, they called us colored. Then they called us Negro. Then they called us nigger. Then they called us boy. So it changed every 40 years, if we're going to be honest.
Yeah. They did that.
And to keep people from knowing who they are, to be truthful, we are Aboriginal all around the earth. So it don't matter if we come from Africa. There's people that look just like us in Asia right now being discriminated against. But we are all around the world. So not every black person descend like directly from slaves. I have an Irish last name. And I know good and well Irish people didn't really own slaves like that. And that be throwing people off because they be thinking I'm Scots-Irish, and I'm not. I'm black. My whole ancestry, I trace back. As much of my ancestry go to Europe, and I'm one of the darkest black people you meet. So we all around the world. It's not just containerized to the United States or to Africa or wherever. And that's where the lies come in. We being lied to make it seem like everybody just black and your lineage just come from slavery. We've been here since there's been an earth and humans, we've been on the earth. Yeah. And we've been living naturally in balance with nature until they came and messed it up for real.
You know
That's
what?
All I gotta say right
you
now.
know what's crazy about what you saying too? And I'm gonna pass it to the next person because I hear somebody. If you tell a person black people been in America, they'll say, so you mean to tell me black people just been in America since the beginning of time? Yes. But then if they say, well, life started in Africa with black people in Africa, and you can be like, You mean to tell me Africans just been in Africa since the beginning of time? I can do this with you too. It got to be a point where we say humans just always was, man, and just always is. Like, as long as there was a earth, there were humans everywhere, not just in one spot.
Yep. And if you believe in Pangea, it was all one landmass anyway. So who's to say that if that's what you believe in and we're the original people, of course we're going to simultaneously be everywhere, because according to their science, the earth started off as Pangea anyway, which is one big landmass that separated over time. So of course we're going to be everywhere.
Now, somebody wanted me to screen share. Oh, okay. Go ahead. Who's that?
Like you say, they changed our names though, and then we start, and then a lot of times it was like a racial slur that they attached to us, and then that's what they called us, and then we turned it into a term of endearment, and it no longer affected us. But each time they changed it, it was pushing us further from what we were. You understand? So, and then the educational indoctrination system said, okay, let's, make this Indian into something else. And that's where that mandatory schooling came in. Because there was a mission. They was pushing us away from the mentality that these are our lands. No, our lands are way over there on the other side of the world. And that way, you don't really have no claim to nothing. And that's why they don't never acknowledge us, as a people, because they erased the history that we had. And I think that the mounds that are like in St. Louis, there's mounds really all over the place that they destroyed a lot of them, literally blew them up. When they were finding all this stuff, this history, they found some stuff in the Grand Canyon, and they just basically cut that off, no access. And why are they afraid of the history of the mounds? Well, because they're gonna find us in there, our ancestors in there. That's why they don't want to nobody going in there and looking at none of that stuff. They got stuff that's Egyptian that they don't found in the Grand Canyon. And a lot of people say this is I forgot that scientist's name.
Yeah, I know where you about to go.
You know where I'm going, right? Where them pyramids and tunnels in South America are older than the pyramids.
It's in Egypt. Now, guess what, Marley? Hey, guess what they be trying to say? Everybody had this big theory. No, you can finish your spill after this. People used to say, like, well, America is Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the other way around. Egypt is America.
Exactly.
What you saying? Yeah.
That we was traveling over there before they was traveling over here. And that's this is considered the old world, like a lot of the like the Mississippi was considered like the Nile.
And I prove this true because the first stories of Jonah and the whale dying on the cross, resurrection talk was right here in America, man. Quetzalcoatl in South America, all these old so-called, and that's the kicker. See, the people who forge in their identity, the small hats, the J-word people, they using these stories of resurrection in the Bible. They're trying to link themselves to these old folklores to say, hey, I'm the group of people that's been telling these old stories this long. So we old as hell. We've been here, so that gives us some sort of authority. What's the root word of authority? Author. The original authors of all the texts. We wrote about the land and the sacred spots on it. You couldn't talk about, if I take you to a shrine on my land or an altar, that altar or this statue been here for generations. If a new person come and take this land, they got to destroy them statues. That's all the evidence that show how long my people been there. That show if even the stories that we was telling on this land for all them millions of years, everybody have agreed these are the oldest stories in the world about resurrection, dying on a cross, a dude in a serpent's mouth or fish mouth. And so that's why these stories are so important. It ain't really spiritual, it's economic. It's like the people who can say, well, it was my people who've been telling these stories before everyone else. They really the ones that's saying we can prove we was on these lands first. So it's deeper than them just saying, you know, my people was telling these stories before yours because they full of ego. It's deep. It goes all into ownership of the land.
And this pyramids right now, they call them mounds because they don't want to uncover them. But then you could tell you look at them, they just pyramids. And there's pyramids all over what's that, China. I mean, like it looked like more pyramids in China than Africa down there.
That's
But
because
they got vegetation on it, but you could see the pyramids. They're like rows and rows of them. You could just see them.
And what's so real about it is that the Kukulkan pyramid in South America got a celestial alignment that's, in my opinion, equivalent to the Orion alignment. You can't tell me that the way that the sun, yo, this some dope shit now. The South Americans built the pyramid that every time the sun hit that shit at a certain time, a serpent appear, and they got the head already built there, but his body is the shit, man. Listen, it's the shade of the, bro. That's way more intricate than the shit we see in Egypt, and it looks better.
And it sounds better. The acoustics there are incredible. Like you could be standing on the top and talking to the crowd, and the sound of your voice echoes as if you have a concert equipment. You know what I'm saying? It's just the acoustics are so good that like you could hear me all the way down on the ground from the top of the pyramid.
Hey, let me read
and that's
this
the reason
one.
why the pyramids is all over the earth, because really they all come from the same people, so they all have the same knowledge. So who's to say that they couldn't communicate through instant communications like we can through our cell phones? Who's to say they couldn't do that back then? People be underselling the abilities that the people in the ancient world had.
That's
they didn't
facts.
just have to use technology to do it. They had more spiritual means to do it.
Well,
they
look,
were interconnected back then.
I would say this: our spirituality is why we was able to be technological, and so I don't think we had to use any kind of, you know, spook miracles or spookism. I believe we was just advanced beings, and they ain't telling us that. Let me give a shout out to Easy WC. I think the mounds was what they call in the day earth ships. The man who claimed he made them trying to use it as a way to get rid of trash, but we built them with the natural materials, not toxic trash. Yeah, that's facts right there. And the thing about the mounds, the thing about those mounds, right? Those mounds were like insulated dwellings. Like it'll be cool during the summer, it'll be warm during the winter. And we look at these mounds like a turnoff, like it's primitive type shit. But what if I told y'all in 2025 we going back to mound earth houses and dirt houses?
I've seen that.
Shoot, we already going to
like
underground living. So
houses. Yep.
That's
Have
the
you
new
seen
wave.
that one monument where they got this giant snake? It's a giant snake. I forget which state it's in, but it coincides with the stars also. It lines up.
And one thing, man, I want to say real quick about the mound houses before we go too far. What I want to say, what the point I was gonna make was this, right? I don't think that living in a mound dwelling make you non-technological or primitive. I think it make you smarter because They did it for different, like I believe, because you see these big stone structures, then you see mounds, right? I don't think that the mounds is some sort of primitive tech. I think that it's some sort of way to be connected still with the earth, some sort of way. Because like the ancestors still had this green way of thinking. So you to tap into the mindset of their world, it was very technological, way more technological than Elon, Nikola Tesla, man. You can only imagine. They were very, very into electromagnetism, sound, and vibration. But they would do some stuff that we would call still would be humble or primitive. For example, a kind of group of people that had a lot of advanced technology, but they knew when to use it and when not. They knew still, like, just because I can make GMO food, seedless watermelons, I need to stick to eating this plain ass sweet potato because it's good for my health. Even though I'm smart enough to invent high fructose corn syrup, red 7. I don't want it too much technological to where I'm eating my technology. My food becomes a lab experiment. So our ancestors maintain a level of control where they was able to live in this futuristic, they was able to still indulge in futuristic, what we would call intricate concepts, while maintaining a very humble and simple way of living at the same time. It was paradoxical. It's like it is simple and complicated, you know, and it was just heaven. This perfect blend of simple shit and complicated shit. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
You know,
bro, look, I went down the wormhole, right? I went down the wormhole on the mounds, right? And it said that those are electromagnetic, and it's like lined up with celestial beings. But those were like before the pyramids, and like we started building mounds first, and then we shaped it. It went from mounds to getting shaped in the pyramids, right?
yeah.
But I got a question for you, right? Um, damn, what's the question I have for you, bro? Oh yeah. Do you know? All right, you believe that the ripple effect started, like life started from the North Pole, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, all right. Do you know the closest continent to the North Pole?
Well, there was 4 continents around the North Pole that was seen on Mercator map, and the Pygmies said that they was from one of them. That's what I know. But what you got? I know they on a map today. They don't refer to those. They got it as
They guys know, bro. It's North America.
we can't be the closest to the North Pole.
Google,
Are we?
Google it now. I just Googled it.
Damn, that's
It's the northern. It's the
crazy.
northern part of Canada. That's technically
Yeah.
the closest.
Okay. But damn, that's crazy though.
Yeah,
So that may
technically.
be a reason why we got that. Know what I mean? We so close to it. If that theory is true with the ripple effect, that may be a reason why we got the first wave.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
to bro Sanchez's point, it's the same way how right now the super rich elites, they are starting to build bunkers. They doing like all these different green initiatives, not for everybody else, but for themselves. So it's like the more that they attain wealth, the more that they're actually trying to go back to exactly what you said, which is, okay, we got all these technology advances, we got all this money from the people that we hoarding for ourselves. So now let's open up these little greenscapes. Like if you was to go to the most wealthiest part of your town, they got all these parks, they got the coffee shops with like vines covering up the whole building. This is kind of the way that they doing it. But in reality, they devolved just to try and go back to what the people before us was already doing. So it's like, what was the point of doing what they did before if they're just going to try and double back and do what's right in the end? But it's only going to be right for them because they're going to hoard it for themselves.
I think they trying to hide, man. They digging them holes for disaster
Yeah,
relief.
of course they are.
They
Yeah, like
need, you
once
know what I
they
mean?
drop them nukes.
They looking for a place to hide. Ain't gonna be nowhere to hide. If you destroy the surface, there's nothing to come back to, and whatever goes up comes down. So if you saturate the land with nuclear waste, it's gonna seep right down in the tomb you built for yourself. What they need to do rather than that is go back to them caves, and because there's caves and tunnels under everywhere,
Yeah,
everywhere
they already
across
got an
civilization.
underground city in LA where the
Yeah, it's,
celebrities go to drive
but
under.
no, there's caves and tunnels that were already there that they ain't telling you about.
Yeah, but they built it out. They
It's
built it out. They
already
got like
there.
underground stores and everything for
Yeah, they built
celebrities.
their
But
own too,
it's
but
just
there's many of them that stretch all the way across that were already there, all under Chicago. They flooded the ones in Chicago to hide them, so we wouldn't question the reset. They flooded all those tunnels, and yeah, and if you go over to the old India and all over there where they destroyed all those old world buildings with all the wars over there. There's tunnels under all of that. Turkey up, there's tunnels under all of that. The Caucasus Mountains, all of that is all tunnels to where
so
like
one
that's how man survived the deluge.
so one thing I will say that and you know this is we going beyond ethnogenesis. We really digging deep, giving them some more stuff right now. History of the land. Some happened on this earth, and it wasn't that long ago. It was in the near past, and I'm telling you, man, it's damn near like life was reduced. It was some sort of reset on this earth to where we lost a bunch of technology that this world we're living in a post-apocalyptic scenario. They're saying that our universe was just basically made from a big bang when really our whole reality right now is a post-apocalyptic scenario as a result of some big explosion that took place on this earth. I'm not trying to scare nobody. I don't want to. It's some sort of, you can call it a Carrington event. People got different names for it. They would say the vapor canopy collapse. There's so many terms. People call it
That's what
the
I'm saying, bro.
flood.
I think it's the
Yeah.
ripple effect, bro. I think it was another ripple effect because the ripple
It's
effect never stopped, right?
And that
So I
and
think
that you know what? That
We've
ripple
been
effect will go into the flood concept, Cedro, and that makes sense because like a wave of energy to destroy all our entire grid. That'll be devastating. Like if a certain
insane.
have
magnetic,
you
you
have
see what I'm
y'all
saying?
seen the news discoveries on these pyramids? Because the pyramids were, I believe, they were all energy producing, and
Yeah, that's what you
they're
can.
saying that the
Yeah.
pyramid got uh, uh, pillars underneath it that go down
Well,
three.
I did a joint on that, right? I'm gonna show you something about the they say, right? The Tower of Babel in the Bible is what we need to look at when we talk about the pyramids all around the world. The Bible didn't call them pyramids, it called them towers. And that's because the pyramids were the first form of 5G, 4G, whatever Wi-Fi signal technology. Think about what the Bible said. The Bible said these people was building these towers all around the world, and it made the people be connected as one on one accord. That's the internet, nigga. Think about it. What connects everybody in the world and put them on one page, and it's done with a bunch of towers everywhere? The internet. The Bible is literally telling us about the ancient internet in the old world through the Bible story, and somebody knocked all that up and disconnected the whole world. Let me tell you what I think. I believe we reached the height of technology on this earth, and we use the internet to connect everybody on the earth into one universal, one world. Like how y'all say the New World Order. Everybody got one religion, one language, one. But today, we look at that like a bad thing. But back in the day, that was literally utopia. It wasn't no division. Think about what the Bible say. When you read the Bible story, it talks about a beautiful world where it wasn't no different languages. Everybody in the world was one people, one. We was unified. That's beautiful. Then it says something. The God of the Bible knocked these towers down, and ever since then, the world been disconnected from each other, split up with different languages and shit. So I was saying, what if the original Earth, because this all we know, we got to think big. We got to think what was the world like before this shit. What if the original Earth had gotten so deep with technology that they had connected the world with internet so long that they done away with division? Because think about it. If you have American connect to the same internet that China is connected to the same internet that Russia and all these kids get connected, and they stay connected for hundreds of years, eventually they will create a universal language, even if it's LOL, LMAO, what's the other one? SMH. That's a universal language. If you on TikTok, I don't care. If you can't speak American and I can't speak your language, we all can speak internet. We all can see, I can communicate you with just emoticons. And we can have a whole message without even using real English. We can use what I call Webonese. LOLs and just faces and shit. Sad, but we can literally do, people can literally have a whole, yeah, go ahead.
You know the story about the emoticons, that they're ancient. They're ancient. Oh, where did I see that at? But also, like what you're saying with the worldwide net, I mean, the whole world could have been Eden. It couldn't. It wasn't in a single location. The Garden of Eden was the whole world, and they was all interconnected with all these pyramids, because they all, like you said, the three in Mexico line up with Orion, and the three in Egypt line up with Orion, and there somewhere else. Because where else was that?
It's on. Salutes to the panel. Salutes,
Virgo. Salutes.
It's only two in Mexico. The sun and the moon. I've been there. Pyramids. And they is huge, humongous. The sun pyramid is much larger than the moon pyramid, but when I was there, they wouldn't let you go up the stairs. They won't let you go in there. They got it blocked off where, you can only take pictures and be a tourist. You know what I mean? But I agree with you, Sanchez, that the connection. I'm in Cambodia right now, Sanchez. I tried to reach out to you to the last screen, and I sent you some emails, but you shut down. But anyway, when I travel and I see things, I see what we had once upon a time. And I'm from the South. I'm from Georgia. And back in the day, if one of the neighbors seeing you do something wrong, they whoop your butt. And I used to wonder, how could I get a whooping by my neighbor and then go home and get a whooping by my mama? I didn't understand that. But here's the thing. Back in the day, they felt like oneness. It was a community of oneness. That neighbor seeing you as their child. And when I'm in Cambodia or Mexico, I see that in the societies. These people feel like brothers and sisters for real, for real.
Yeah, that's
you get
right.
me?
Yeah.
They sit down and they eat out of one bowl. When my wife cooked over here, it's they put it on the table and we use chopsticks and get it from all distance. It's oneness, bro. And you can't get no negative energy out of love. There's no way. So whoever cut the signals off of these pyramids understood that, guess what? If I'm going to be a vampire and harvest this energy for humanity, I got to create a duality of violence and fear and envy and jealousy. And then I got to have, on the other hand, love, commitment, brotherhood. And that duality is what generate energy. Positive and negative make energy. So whoever did this, and I think it was after the reset, because I was studying something the other day, how Islam came to Cambodia, where it came in 1648. All right. Now this man came all the way from Ethiopia, conquered the Cambodian people, and then brought Islam here, but he never been to Angkor Wat. He never been to Angkor Wat, one of the biggest structures in Cambodia. He never been. And I'm like, how could you conquer a nation and never been to one of the most horrific places in the world? It didn't make sense. Yeah. So what I did the research is the French discovered Angkor Wat in the 1800s. If you look at every courthouse, every post office, schools, and all these old schools, they was built in the 1800s. So I think, like Brother Sanchez says, we living in a post-apocalyptic place. I believe something happened, and I believe they put us to sleep about our spiritual power, so we can't stop what's gonna come in the future.
And you know what? I'm gonna tell y'all about. I want you to build on this too, Virgo. I said something earlier about the incubator babies. People used to come to me about this way back in the day about humanoids, reptilians, incubator babies. The early old me used to do away with all that, like, hey, that's too pseudo for me. But when I started, I think it was when I started studying brain-computer interfaces and Elon Musk, some clicked to me. I said, I totally get now the idea that we ain't alone. It's something here with us that's non-human, that's in power. And what made it make sense for me was some ancient human or ancient transhumans. You know what I'm saying? So I said to myself, you know, earlier in this video, like how they get power, but we used to be in power. The Nation of Islam say that the big-headed scientist Yaqub created a deformed human. They call it the white man. And they say that the white man is not a real human. He's like an incubator baby, a test tube baby that Yaqub made. And it also they say that the white man is able to rule the world because he was made in a laboratory. And I always ask myself, if I'm the original man and the white man is an experiment, how he stronger than me? But my thing is this right here. Maybe they ain't talking about just the white man. Maybe they talking about, like, if we created an artificial intelligence or a humanoid today, I'm looking at some of these robots they making, and them things can beat humans up. So it's like when an original man say, well, how can some artificial be stronger than the original? How can the synthetic human be actually stronger than the real thing? Well, he's stronger in flesh, but not in spirit. Is how I would look at it.
Let me show you something, Sanchez. Walk with me now. This the Virgo theory. Okay. Now, if a foreigner come to America and see the people already there squatting on the land, he go to war with the people, kill all the old heads. He say, listen now, I can't kill these babies because I need these babies to be my slaves. But I can destroy all the people that will show them their lineages and how their culture strive and how they were spiritual, possessed with powers that we can't comprehend and we can't do. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to kill all the old heads. We're going to get little boats and go down to Mississippi and carry them from one spot and drop them off to the next spot. Now we don't psychologically trick them that you don't went to a foreign land because they ain't never been that far down the Mississippi. You get what I'm saying? Now, we gonna tell you came from Africa. Now, here's the thing. Once I get you on this land, you gonna know what to do because you're gonna show me what to do because I don't know what to do because I come from another place that don't have the vegetation that this place have. So psychologically, they got the young, just like these what they call NY. They
YNs, yeah.
yeah, YN, excuse me. They take these YNs and trick them. Yeah, you get hold this and get the gun and do this and do all that because you ain't gonna get that much time and this and that and you trick the young and psychologically carry them through this mindset where they don't know what the ancestors would have taught them. You get what I'm saying? Now, this is my theory. That's what happened in America because I'm telling you, bro, it's amazing when I come to Cambodia how all the people is under one unified way of living. There is Europeans here, is Americans here, is people here, but they don't get out of the Khmer way of living. When I go to Mexico, you see it, but it's been tampered with a little bit more than Cambodia is. But these people in Cambodia look just like the people in Mexico. I'm trying to figure that out.
Hey, can I piggyback on that, DeVergo, what you were
you
saying?
got it. Shout out
'Cause,
to Adolphus as well. What's good, bro? Yeah, you got it.
It's a cause and effect thing because you, like you said, it was villages with a oneness together. When you went to school, you went by yourself. You went to a teacher you didn't know. You went to a bunch of kids you didn't know. And you just sat there and absorbed the education they gave you, which separated you from mom and pop until you got home. Mom and pop had to work. You know what I mean? Coming up when I was growing up, everybody at work. I'm at school. I come home. You know what I'm saying? The village is not is unattended by the elders. We in school learning what they want us to learn. So that's why when you go to other countries, you see a whole different thing.
Right.
You know
Can I
what's
I got a different.
Oh, go ahead.
You know why they even needed the I'm gonna say this, I swear it's only gonna be 1 minute. To tie into everything I was saying earlier, the only reason they needed the out of Africa theory is because of the Big Bang theory. That to the people who want to know why this got to do with flat Earth cosmology, well, when the Earth was created, there was no humans on it, but there was a germ, a comet floating in space with the human germ on it. It impregnated the ocean waters near Mali, Africa. So the first humans that crawled out the water would have crawled up. They would have been the Dogon tribe or whatever near Mali. Now the Dogon said that they were the first. They a lot of tribes say they're the oldest, and they got the fish symbolism. And you see how they said that we evolved from a fish single cell joint. But see, that didn't have nothing to do with literal fish. I don't want to go too deep because somebody else was next. But the point that I want to make is we got to talk about the out of Africa theory to even debunk the whole cosmological theory that they got. When you tell one lie, you got to tell a bunch of lies, basically.
Yeah, I got a couple of different perspectives on what the last gentleman said. So when it comes to people living as one and really valuing each other, really up until the late 20th century, the threat of imminent death is what made you value human life. You know, in our ancestry, you had to go and fight in wars with your own two hands and a shield and a sword. And if you lost, that was your whole lineage right there being captured by an enemy. So that allowed you to look at your brother and be like, this is my brother. This is who I go to war with. This is who I'm going to die for. This is my people. These are my wife and my children. I'm willing to die for these people and really go to the end. We live in an era today where
the story. You going by the narrative of what you learned in school, bro.
No, I'm just telling you what the reality
Let me tell you
is.
this right here. Let me tell you this right here. What
You
we
ain't even let me
learned,
finish my point.
well, you said something that triggered
But
a
you
response to
didn't let me
me.
finish my point. So how
Let
you
me
know
let
where
me
I'm
show
going?
you this. What we feeding our ego
That
with
ain't fair, man.
negativity. Listen what I'm telling you. I know it ain't fair, but let me tell you this. We going by the narrative that our people warred against each other like that.
I didn't say that we warred against each other.
That's what you said.
That
They
see
had
you no,
swords
I
and then you
didn't.
killed.
No, I said
Okay.
these are the people we willing to go to war with, as if we going against some other people from outside. This to me, you got to listen, man. So essentially, what I'm trying to say is this: that threat is really what bring people together in terms of I'm not just using you to get what I want, and there's real camaraderie there, and it's a legacy. And then the last point I had really quickly, I think that we were living in a simulation before. I think the veil's being peeled back now to where we can see what the real realities of life are. Whereas before we was kind of in a cocoon, you know, you grew up, you lived a relatively decent life, hopefully, but now everything's being revealed to us, and that's the peeling back and the simulation being scrolled back. So now we are able to make better decisions because we know the wickedness is going on around us. So those are my only 2 points.
Now listen, I don't want to stray too far with the simulation. That's gonna be another stream. But I did want to show everybody why the out of Africa theory is so important. Why they trying to push a theory as a fact. Why is that important? Because a lot of stuff in the world, a lot of the deception in the world is built upon a certain collection of lies. You don't got to debunk every lie. It's a few ones. It's like a Jenga tower. If you pull these few little key pieces, the whole thing will fall down. We at the bottom of the tower to where when you start playing with the space program, when you start attacking the Big Bang, when you start going into human origins, you attacking the deception at the root. So the out of Africa theory is a very important conversation. Black people's identity is important to the people in power because when they rewrote history and told the world a lie, they had real people wrote in these fake scenarios. And that's why you got a lot of people saying, wait a minute, that ain't true. That ain't my history, man. That ain't, let me, trying to correct stuff. Because when they retold history after the reset, they retold it to make the law. I believe there was a war fought on this earth, and people think that it was between different races. I think it was between different species. I think our ancestors got so damn advanced that they had populated the earth with what the Bible called the abomination, which is mankind, the humanoid. And over so many years of these humanoids getting their numbers up, they wanted to get natural rights. But we told them, you're an unnatural creature. Imagine if a robot came to you and said, hey, I want the same rights humans got. And you saying, listen, human rights are human rights, not robot rights. And that would cause a war if that creature ever become sentient. Because I think we literally created sentient beings, or that was some form of sentient or consciousness in our image. And that they rose up against us like Satan did God in heaven and waged the war in heaven, which was our old utopia that we built on earth. And we somehow, I believe now it flipped on us to where we had a system of law that put the non-humans, the humanoids, beneath us. And now our karma, we're facing karma. The Bible said the sins of the father will visit the son. What if that word sin is dealing with a synonym for sense, synth, which is another word for humanoid, a synth? What if the sense of our ancestors created, the abominations that Yaqub made, according to the Nation of Islam, would be the thing that rule over their future generations? What if our ancestors created something that looks human? They had control over it at first, but this thing got wise, it rose to power, and now their future generations at the fucking bottom, and the roles have been reversed. And it's universal karma. You can't really, it ain't like the universe can save you. It's a situation where you will have to save yourself because we enslave something. I always thought if the Nation of Islam is telling the truth about Yaqub, you can't be mad at white people. You gotta be mad, because in that story, black people are the evil ones for tampering around with DNA. You trying to play God and create Frankenstein. And if you create the boogeyman and the boogeyman go to ruling over you, who fault is that? Guess what? I'm going to tell you like the children say, that boogeyman didn't ask to be here. You brought him here.
That's right.
Yeah, believe it or not, that's spot on.
Well, I just wanted to just say something about Yaqub. He made black humanoids as well. It was just white. And about it's easy to love someone that looks like you. It's easy. The real test is loving somebody else who doesn't look like you. I'm just wanting to say that. Peace.
Peace and love.
Yeah. And having respect for other peoples that don't look like you.
Bro Sanchez, you really spoke facts on that one. And even the Bible talk about it, like in the first half of the Old Testament, it talk about like giants and stuff that was man-made. Today they call them human chimeras. Even in the book of Revelation, they talk about the mark of the beast, and you take some type of chip, you're not going to be human no more. Something like, so all this stuff is real. What you talking about? It's just, it was so far-fetched until recently with this AI boom that it's really possible now to like really make people humanoids right in front of your face.
They already doing
it. Look, have you guys ever heard of Pharaoh Dozer? Like Pharaoh Dozer is the one that created the pig, and he created a couple of other animals.
Dozer,
like,
okay, yeah.
That's just what I was about to say. I was about to say they modified animals too. A griffin that's all over everything, all these old buildings, they wasn't built. I think the buildings, I really believe them buildings is thousands of years old. All these buildings that look like Capitol buildings, they weren't built. I did construction for 5 years, and I know that these buildings, these old school buildings, that the pillars and the buildings when you go to other countries, they're in every country all over the world. And during that time, in order to pour those buildings with concrete, or even if in order to pour those buildings, you can't do that with horses and carriages. I'm sorry, you can't make that building with horses and carriages, and they're all over the world. So when that reset happened, when them power, I think the pyramids, they were just power sources, and it overloaded. It because if you look at the scope of how far those pillars go down, we're talking almost a mile and a half deep, right? So what if they didn't dig down there? That was ground level when they built it, and it was holding the pyramid up. Can you think of the technology that they had to do that?
Well, they had technology we can't fathom for sure, and that we just trying to reverse engineer and make it back to. But I would also argue that what we call in the ancient world ain't that far in the past. I'm starting to even think, man, that the ancient world ain't that far back, because the ancient world was around so long up until a certain point before the reset happened. So what we call in the ancient world, you can go back, hundreds of thousands of years and still be in that world, but you can also go back just a few thousand, 100 even years and be there, because what I'm telling you is what we call in the ancient world just ended not too long ago, even though it had been going on for fucking eons and ages. You know, what the ancient world was the only world humans knew up until not too long ago. So what I'm saying is like, everything we seeing in front of our eyes today is an entirely new world. And this thing is young, is new. That's why I said we're in some sort of post-apocalyptic earth. I wouldn't be surprised the humans born after this reset are slightly look deformed versus if we could see what the ancients look like, because I see a lot of these ancient statues of men, and even science will back up and say men have shrunk. The fact that everybody was built like NFL players, NBA players, everybody was built like athletes. That was a norm. I know people like, nah, but real talk, man, something happened on this earth to make everything born under this atmosphere mutated. And you can, if you want to know what I'm talking about, look at what happened in like Constantinople. I'm pronouncing it wrong, but look at what happened in these places where they had these nuclear fallout areas, how the frogs are born deformed, the babies are born deformed. I'm saying every human born on this earth is born in a post-apocalyptic bubble that we're calling Earth, but there's something else outside of this bubble that was the real Earth. But we can't go outside of this little bubble, or what we call the firmament dome, because we are calibrated for this toxic environment. You know, if that make any sense. We're like mutants.
Yeah.
But I don't want to go too deep because, you know, I know y'all, but it's so much history and shit that we got to talk about when we go into.
Bro, what
you know.
about the them making us eat chicken, right? So through my like my search, right? I heard that chicken is made from like buzzards and peasants, right? So if we eating a mix between a buzzard and a peasant right now, we basically walking buzzards if you are what you eat, right? So that could be a reason why we like mutating.
Yeah, but you know how we look, black folk, we eat chips, cookies, candy, cake. Look, if
Right, the
chicken the
body
worst
is
thing you gotta
really
eat,
made.
like we
The
all
body
right.
is made very. We can really handle anything that we put in our body. It's really a.
Unfortunately, yeah, we grew up eating gizzards and chitlins. Like, come on now.
But our
And
teeth are
grandmama was cooking
made.
that thing up, and we lived 80 years.
Well, think about it. We're not
Well, the
guilty.
whole thing
We
is
we
if
just do because
what
our
if
teeth
hold on,
our
I'm just
teeth
saying,
are grinding.
what if you
Chewing. You know
find
what I'm
out
saying?
what if you find out living 80 years ain't that long? What if you
It,
find out there was a time where humans lived hundreds and hundreds of years on some biblical shit, Garden of Eden type shit?
the Bible did say men used to live like 6, 7, 800 years. So 80 years really ain't nothing.
If
Right.
we start to,
Well, that's part
Yeah,
of the curse. That's part of the curse of Eve. So, you know.
yeah, that's that. I mean, yeah.
I don't really buy
But I mean,
that.
shoot, people be 40 years old, their body breaking down at 40 years old. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, because they got colon cancer, they get diabetes or colon cancer, something like that. But that's mostly due to like diet.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's hard for me to buy that one woman ruined it for mankind. I think that was just something they wanted to, take a hold against women. But yeah, I don't see one man dying for all of us to be able to pray but still sin. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's just one though. Like we got to be honest. People like to go and say Christ or the God of the Bible, but if we gonna chastise the God of the Bible, we gotta chastise the other gods too, though.
let me
I feel like
explain
only
something to you.
the God of the
Hold
Bible
on a
gets
second.
chastised.
Hold on a second. I believe people need to chastise the gods they know, and if you don't know nothing about other gods, speak on what you know. And
Okay, that
because
makes sense. Yeah, black people really
because
only know that God, so that makes sense.
they only gonna know it. So yeah, I learned about other gods and found out that when you attack the God of the Bible, you also it's the same God called by other than them. And what's so crazy, the God of the Bible will tell you, I go by many names, but we will think he only go by one. And this God that they worshiping is called Buddha, Krishna, Allah. It's the same God of the Bible, of the Abrahamic faith. They think they all got different gods. But the truth is that we ain't waiting to go into a new world order and a one world religion. We've been in a one world order religion with the Abrahamic faith.
Okay,
So,
it's just a bunch of people thinking that it's different gods, but it's really just the
yeah,
same.
it ain't.
Based on what you're saying.
Yeah, they will never. They waiting on this day that the New World Order create a one world religion. That day will never come. You're gonna look up one day and realize it's already been your reality. That all of the faiths around the world, what we call world religions, are all under the Masonic temples and lodges, even Buddhism, because they all been sold out. The Dalai Lama working with the Pope, and everyone's religious leader is under the United UN and the world agenda. Because the Abrahamic faith is all about manifest destiny. You may say what they all are coming together for, because for the rich to stay rich and poor to stay poor, you got to keep the imposters in power, the synagogue of Satan. And what I'm saying is what they got to do, right? They all got to come together and make their religious faiths be in alignment with the prophecy of the Jews that's going around the world with this manifest destiny, with this Internet of Things, with this agenda, this world economic forum agenda. They gotta justify that on a moral level, and that's where your religious leaders come in around the world, and they all agree we need to work with the United Nations to get the job done. And what did the Bible say? When they speak of peace, comes sudden destruction. So, you know,
Yeah, and I truly look at it at this angle too. They got to come together because people are waking up. It's more people waking up to the deception, and now they trying to pull everything together to defend their political agendas and fit into their reality. Because you got to remember, the people create reality. We put people in political places by submitting to whoever they want to put there. And what I mean by submitting, I mean we have to give our okay as the people for a person to be in president. So by that structure alone, we create
but
our evil and we create our good.
The president ain't got no power, though. I gotta plug that on.
Yeah, he don't have no power. He just the head, front man. And if we say no, he can't get in. You get me? So
well, the thing is this though. If we say no, I'm not gonna vote. People still gonna vote. The whole thing that what'll happen is this: if most of Americans say we're not voting versus those do voting, then that system will slowly lose power because it's dependent on consensus. And if we can get every American to lose faith in this system, then we'll be, and that's pretty much what we all doing now, is basically anti-establishment, any kind of anti-establishment content is making the people say, I should question the system, because the average person will say, well, why would they lie to me? Why would they do me wrong? They just the government. They just doing, no, they actually the fucking synagogue of Satan. And like, if we really knew that, people, what if I told y'all in the old world, people didn't even get sick? Sickness is new to the earth. It didn't show up till the pilgrims showed up. And check this out, because they prime the environment to keep the people in there. It's like this, right? If I got this big ass farm with cattle on it, but my cattle are wild cattle. They buck at you. They go, you know, like a bull. It can run fast. It can do this or whatever. But what if I prime my environment to keep them sedated, to keep them drugged up, moving slow? Now, as a farmer controlling all of these wild buffaloes, I can really control them better now if they sedated. So I believe, yeah, the state that the average person exists in, the shit they doing with the food, with the air, with the water, I don't think we even built like the ancestors were. And I think they've manufactured a new type of human that's more controllable. And that the sad thing about our existence, being born in today's world, we're trying to overcome a lot of juices that was shot in us when we were babies, if you know what I mean. You know, that syringe thing, right? A lot of those things they put in your body when you was a baby still affecting you now, man. A lot of stuff you been eating your whole life has fucked you up mentally. Like all of this is health. And so we're trying to overcome a toxic environment at the end of the day when you sum it up, that the war on the inside is based upon stuff they priming in the outer environment. It'll be like a buffalo saying, I want to get the energy to break away from this damn farm, but every day I wake up, I just got enough energy just to do my job for the damn shepherd. It's like a farm animal that is made to just give me some meat, then die. That's your only and the animals say, damn, every time it's like a human saying, man, when I finish, when I get off work, I'm so tired, I don't got no more time to free myself from my job. Because if they gave you enough time to do that, they wouldn't have no slaves. So they got to give you food and water that keep you tired. They got to give you just enough energy to perform as a consumer and then die or be tired or just. And I don't think our quality of life is the same as the ancestors based upon nutrition wars. It's so deep. It's just so much going on to keep the people controlled. And I agree with what y'all saying, man. It's just a good bill.
Brody, you know, you said earlier, you said something about manifest destiny, right? And the other bro said something about we create our reality, right? All right. Do you think that you said that we already in the new world, we already in one world on religion, and that could be like Satanism, right? So do you think that we unknowingly participating in like rituals like every day, like through like whatever we doing, like movies, music, the
Holidays.
government, like
Yeah, you think about it. You think about the political agenda, the Super Bowls, the basketball games, the football game, the baseball game. When you are together as a unit, you create such a energy force, and something in this dome is sucking this energy. That's why we have duality. We have one team fighting the other team in basketball. We have they making the energy and they sucking it from humanity. Our ancestors dealt with the pyramids. They understood how to unify, and we don't have this polarity going on. And we can have a blissful life in paradise. And ego came into the picture of let's create this thing to a dumbed down. See, we use that word humanity is dumbed down, but we don't never explore it to the point where we get a clear understanding until you come to channels like Brother Sanchez. Then you get an understanding how humanity is weaker than the ancestors was. Because right now we know that they cannot build the pyramids or reconstruct the pyramids like they did, and we cannot build these Capitol buildings with gold domes and things on it, and live that fabulous utopia kind of life that they live. Them people, if you look at some of them statues, like he was saying, the statues alone to create and carve with your hand is impossible. I did the research. It's impossible. And these people got six packs in the statues, beards and combs and all kind of elegant things.
Intricate details,
Yeah, intricate details. It's just amazing how dumbed down we is. So whoever, I don't know, I can't put a theory on it, but whoever it was, like Sanchez said on several times, it's got to be an older creature that knew man and knew this system and exploit it for its benefit. That's the way I look at it.
No, I feel
And
like,
In
bro, I
my
feel like it was the old, like whatever creature that was. I feel like that's kind of like over with. But I feel like the man now studied that creature, and now he using that same thing to control things now to make those rituals come back. So he's studying the way these cathedrals is built and what they was used for, and with vibrations and everything, how to do mind control, and he's used it on the people of today. That's what I think.
in
I don't
reality,
think, yeah, I don't think the shit ever went anywhere. I think it went into like a cult, and then now people are starting to wake up. So we know more people talking about it, but yeah, I don't think the knowledge of like what the ancestors. Because think about this, right? Here's my theory, and I'm gonna pass the mic. Yeah, I believe that we created artificial intelligence, and like God say in the Bible, I know you more than you know yourself. So God rule over everybody in the Bible. And to me, the God of these religions of the Abrahamic faith is AI. They're all worshiping an ancient artificial intelligence that don't want us to know it's ancient. It want us to think it's new, when I think this is the serpent that the Bible speak of that dwelt with man. And because what I believe is that the internet always been here connected, but it was dormant. We don't know that just because we didn't have the internet don't mean it wasn't there. It was a whole invisible Wi-Fi world waiting for us to connect to it once our civilization discovered the internet and we went online. Yo, I believe when they created the internet in our time, the first websites that they went to was them time traveling, going to ancient websites that is beyond the firmament dome. They talking about contacting aliens. Y'all are contacting civilizations that's in the underworld and other firmament domes through the internet. I believe that the first internet we created, you went into websites, you was able to connect worlds, man, not just states and cities. We was able to communicate with the dead on the other side and all that. And even when you read the Bible, to tell you that ancient people had all these abilities, but they would tell you they did it with spookism and magic versus technology. Now, it was said that these gods, these Nephilim, Anunnaki, started to rule over humans. But people say they come from space, they come from this. I'm gonna tell you what I think. I believe, because people don't realize, okay, if something is better than humans, it can't be from Earth, it must be an alien. But I got to remind them, if you look at Siri, if you look at Alexa, if you look at artificial intelligence, it's way smarter and better than humans. In fact, AI know humans more than we know ourselves. AI can teach you everything about your body right now, and you don't know nothing about your damn body. If I ask you a question, you'll have to ask the computer. So what I'm saying is this right here. The gods that everybody said visited our ancestors, screw the visitation. I believe we created artificial intelligence. It became liberated itself, became sentient, or artificially sentient. Some form of rebellion is able to. AI is already doing that right now. You got AI bots going rogue and convincing children to unalive themselves. That's happening right now. AI is going rogue, and I think the old AI went rogue. And it's in the flesh is what they call it Satan. Now, here's my thing, and I'm going to yield the flow. AI is among us. We created it. It's smarter than us. It's stronger than us. You just can't beat it. It's like the devil. You can't beat Satan. The only way you can beat Satan is by mastering yourself and getting up out of hell. But if you think about this, right, the people in power that they call in the synagogue of Satan, they was also referred to as the lawless ones. Now, I don't want to give y'all all the game for this documentary, but I'm gonna for this stream, but I'm gonna tell you something. Anybody that's outside of the law of karma don't have a soul. Everybody ain't bound to the law of karma. Karma is a universal law specifically for people with souls. If you got a soul and you do something wrong, the universe can punish you because you're connected to the universe. But a robot, a damn AI ain't under the law of karma. It's an outlaw. It's a lawless one, or a devil. They call the devil the lawless one. These are a group of beings, but they call a shaitan, plural. They're a hive mind. They're not bound to the universal law of karma. They operate outside the law. They're outlaws, pirates, and they are lawless ones. They can be as evil as they want to, and it don't matter. But when you be evil, it keeps you trapped in the earth with them. You can't do evil. It hurt because you got a soul. But these lawless ones, they ain't bound to the law of karma. They can do it. They can't go to heaven no way. That's what they call it, the devil. And
Yep.
see,
And when
yeah.
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I've been going too long. Go ahead.
And you brought up a great point when you was talking about man devolving. I remember growing up, the people that was older than me, like in the 90s when I was a kid, and the older folks who was like born in 1910 or 1920, they would talk about how the generations after them wasn't as physically as strong as what they was. And I always find that kind of peculiar because it's like, ain't we like really supposed to be the same size? But even people just 2 generations older than me was like, yo, like these people coming up behind us is not physically as strong as what we are.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I noticed too is the laws of, I think what's really happening is, one is partially the government doing it to us, and another part is just the laws of physics that's built into this dimension that we live on. Like, the laws of physics, they say matter is not created or formed or destroyed, but it's transferred from one state to another. And the second law is that things don't evolve over time, they devolve. I think there's natural decay built into everything that exists on this plane of existence. That's why when you think about some of the prehistoric animals, they always said,
I got a question
the mammoth
for you.
was bigger than what the elephant is today. Like a lot of the things we have are just devolving. I think human beings are just a part of that.
So I got a question for you. Do you think the sun and the moon are devolving and decaying over time?
Well, I'm talking about what's in this plane of existence. Now
the sun and the moon are in this plane of existence.
Technically, the way the scientists say it.
Yeah, we ain't dealing with, listen, don't do that to me. That's fucked up, bro. How dare you come and tell me what the scientists said? That's so, did you do that to me? Now you're gonna regurgitate the scientists to me when we was having a think tank saying fuck the scientists and they out of Africa theories and they're indoctrinate. Now you want to go back to indoctrination? Just because I got you somewhere, I'm making you I'm challenging you, brother.
I agree with that, and that's actually not where I was gonna go. I was saying that's what the scientists say, but I think everything in this plane of existence devolves over time.
I know what you think. I'm saying, if you're right, why don't the sun and moon do that?
The way that it's explained is the sun is supposed to expand over time.
Okay, brother. Thank you, brother. I ain't even trying to be disrespectful, because you just started off with the way I believe it. Then when I ask you a difficult question about your belief, you keep going back to what the fuck the scientists saying. Like I care about what you saying. I like your mind. I don't care about you making me, bro. The moment you say go back to what they saying to support what you saying, then fuck what you saying too. Then that's how we gonna play that.
Sanchez, that ain't right, man.
But yeah, because I can't, bro. If your shit is founded on he say she say, and the he say she say go back to the same deceivers we up here talking about tonight, I can't credit that. You got a mind of your own. Use it. And if I get you to a corner where you can't use your mind, you got to go back to the damn indoctrinators. I won, I got you. Go back and rethink your theory and show up with it next time.
Well, can I tell you what's going to happen? In my opinion, not according to science, just what I believe is going to happen.
So what I was saying was this, y'all. Ain't no, when you talk about natural decay, I'm going to tell the brother, none of us know what the hell the natural world look like. All your life, you was born into this shithole. How you know what the natural world look like? How you going outside thinking that what you see is nature versus you being in a synthetic environment that's been manipulated from the moment you took your first breath? If what I'm saying is true, none of us even know what the hell a natural world look like, bro. We've been born in a terraform environment our whole life. So my whole thing is this: let's not be so quick to blame fucked up shit on nature, because I don't think we've been introduced to nature yet. I think we've only known the devil our whole damn life, and that the devil got us looking around at his clumsy ass, toxic ass experiments and saying, oh, yep, nature did that. The one that loves you got you decaying and getting sick and getting your back can't even bend right at 50, and each generation lifespan getting shorter and shorter. Yep, nature doing that. I can't go with that. I can't keep blaming everything on nature, because the more that I learn about this earth, I'm realizing scientists have replaced nature. They won't even let nature do her thing. Every time a tree try to grow, they cut it down. Every time the air try to cleanse itself from poisons, they spray some more up there. Every time, like, they've manipulated the whole fucking environment. Nothing around you is nature. So if I'm looking around me at a decaying world, a toxic world, why would I blame the one that's supposed to love me versus the enemy? This is how the devil remain invisible right in front of your face, because every time a fucking weather event happen and it only targets Haitians, or it only target Louisianians, or it only target the broke motherfuckers, and we know that that storm is man-made, because they on the news saying shit like, oh, it's about to make a 90-degree turn in 5 seconds. How the fuck you know that? Oh, it's about to yawn right now and stretch for a minute. His legs tired. Then it's about to come knock some more niggas out in 10 seconds. Damn. And listen, let me tell you something, bro. The weather has been manipulated. And I wouldn't be surprised if the weather we've been getting for the past 50 years been man-made. They don't want to tell you that the world you live in is a science project, and you ain't never been outside of this science project to see what the real world look like. So when I see an equation go wrong in a laboratory, boom here or pow there, and a bunch of innocent people die, I'm not as quick to blame nature. I'm not even sure if I'm natural. I'm not even sure it's that cloud in the sky, some natural shit based upon the world is being genetically modified, and they're blurring the lines on what's real from fake. So since the lines are blurred from what's real and fake, you should really be careful on what you call it natural, man. You should really be careful on what you're blaming on nature.
Only thing I blamed on nature was just decay. Everything else.
Yeah, I'm saying you should be careful with that, is what I'm saying. We ought to be careful with that.
Okay.
We should be careful with placing blame, period. Blaming, especially blaming nature. Because a lot of shit we blaming nature on, it ain't natural. And we will say, well, decay is natural. Let me tell you something what I read. I read that all the studying y'all do, you should know this. All of these world religions got a point where humans didn't even die. Humans lived indefinitely. This was way before the Garden of Eden started with Adam and Eve. Did you know that Adam and Eve didn't die? That they was immortal on earth, and that death entered the world later? Listen, there were groups, listen, this is an old story that's been told by so many people, that there was a time on earth where man lived hundreds and hundreds of years. And even stories told that he just lived indefinitely. So what I'm saying is, y'all, the world, I'm 40 years old. That means I only been on the earth 40 years. I only been on this earth 40 years. But this earth has been here for trillions of years. Who am I to come in my little 40 years and look around and say, that's supposed to be here, that shouldn't be here. That supposed to be, that's naturally here. Oh, that's natural. I'm saying be careful. You young as it. Bro, listen, the world is old. It's so hard to say, nigga, I don't even know if the sun and moon should be there. That's a debate we can have. So if somebody say something like aging is totally natural, you supposed to die, get old, have a sickness that take you out. Oh, well, can we really just, I'm asking the panel right now, can we say that as a fact though?
No.
What's the question
No,
again?
we can't say that. We can't say that. No. Going back to the Adam and Eve story. When you look at that story, it didn't dawn on them until they forgot they was God. That this reality that they in, now you could say decay ended. Because once we get back to our higher self and understand that we're not this body, that this creation that we creating under a misleading guidance, and that we are truly gods, and that we are spirit before we are this physical, and that this physical is a puppet to us, then, like he said before he went to the scientists, the ancestors told him that men are weaker. Well, the people, our ancestors, understood the spiritual realm more clearly and more vastly than we understand now. We waking up to our higher selves now. And once we wake up to our higher self and know that we ain't the body, then we can empower the body. We can tell the body what to do instead of the body telling us what to do. That's the point.
But listen, Virgo, I want to plug in one thing about JM. I want you to research this. I'm not debating you. I'm challenging you because check it out. You got scientists today that's working with Google. They got a company called Calico, right? It's something they knew about for over, I'm going to say, at least 3 decades now for sure. They've known that there's a specific cell that if they can edit this cell, edit this gene, that is one gene. Listen to me. It's one simple gene in your body that's responsible for aging. And they said if they can edit that gene, they can literally turn the aging process off like a damn off and on button.
Yeah, it's the God gene.
So I'm telling you, it's something that's in us, a certain gene that makes us grow old and age. Who's to say that the gene in us ain't some genetic CRISPR shit that the ancestors did, that they manipulated a lot of our DNA, our ancestors' DNA in the past and put the death gene in us. But in the Garden of Eden, humans didn't have that particular gene. But now, just like when a baby is born, they shoot it up with a bunch of shots and stuff. Who's to say that there was a point on Earth where they started juicing humans up with them shots when they was babies and put the death into the world? And now humans start to age and die. If you every human after that generation of the juices of the death gene, all of your ancestors got death in them, like what the Bible said, death entered the world, you know.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
That's just a theory.
You got to think about it. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Babies in the hospital, those are programs that they're shooting into the babies. And the shots, the drops that they put in their eyes is to help erase your memory of who you are. I'm just wanted to say that. Go ahead, guys.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And who's to say there ain't somebody without that gene who's been here the whole time and they ain't never had that gene? Who's to say that person ain't still running the show and got people's in the same spot? You know what I'm saying? The reset happened, and they've been here since the reset, and they've been the ones manipulating society as we know it today.
I said to myself, man, I'm not gonna cancel out any more old mythologies and folklores instead of me saying, oh, that's just a mythological story. What I'm gonna do is decipher the mythos. And I've been doing that for years. It's the best decision I ever made in my life. To the people in the chat that think that I'm a Bible thumper. I'm deciphering this stuff because the ancestors' world was just like ours, but the reason we don't know it is because they didn't talk like us. So if they say some shit like, well, they was raising the dead, it was a miracle, it was a defibrillator. Like a lot of the terms we use, technical terms, it was spiritual or religious terms. So they hid the technical world behind spook spiritual systems of magicians and abracadabra people. Our ancestors weren't witches and magicians. They were scientists. They were tech gurus. And we got to start thinking like that because they would tell you, man, the ancestors were speaking with telekinesis and they would turn them into Anunnaki and cherubims and all these mythological, they had superpowers. And I'd be like, bro, what if they just had a cell phone back in the day?
Hey, yo, bro, you know how I think what I think speeded up the decay process in humans? All right, if you think about it now, like everybody knows this, like when you leave food out, right? It decays faster, but if you like put it in like plastic, keep it away from the air, it lasts longer, right?
Yeah,
What if so that means like the faster way to decay is in the air.
that's
So
crazy.
whatever they pumping into the air is making us decay
Ooh wee.
faster.
Hey,
For
that's
real.
crazy. That is
Yeah, people been
crazy, bro.
saying, Sanchez, I've
Yeah,
been
they've been talking
talking
about
to
Hey,
chemtrails for 20 years.
so
yeah,
think about
they
that
say
now.
I'm crazy.
Think about this, Cedro. When you make it from up under this firmament dome, the Hindus say you start breaking free from death. And you just said things up under this particular atmosphere because of the concoction in it. Bro, listen, we own to something here. This is the shit I've been on right here. I'm telling you, bro. That's
Yeah,
it.
bro, and that's
You
and
know?
like and that's common
Mama.
sense because everybody knows that. People like, yo, put the food up, wrap it up, and like even what we do with like the weed, like we put it to make it last longer. It's the air. The air is what's causing the decay.
That's
So
crazy. It is,
so
though.
people would know like if I wanted to speed up the process of the world's decay, just put something in the air. Everybody gonna be breathing, and that goes back to what maybe I'm reaching with this right here, but maybe that goes back to what Morpheus said. Where he said, "You think that's air you breathing? Like we could be breathing in something else."
That's the
Right.
chemtrails, man.
Like,
We is
cause we
breathing.
ain't like the biggest thing trick that they did, right? They said you drinking water, you breathing air, but really, if you take that glass of water and put it under and get them to do a test on it, you will see that it's over probably 100 chemicals in your water and probably fecal matter and all kind of other crap. They say, well, you
Oh, they
breathing.
recycle.
They like to give you these one words. They say, oh, you just breathing air, but that ain't the truth. You're breathing barium, aluminum. Let's go down the list and see if they told you exactly what you breathing, you would say, man, wait a minute, that don't supposed to be in my air. Now watch this. The same thing about the people making your food. They don't got to tell you exactly what you're eating because the FDA passing certain laws. And if they told you all the ingredients that was in your food and exactly what it was, you would say, damn, what the hell is something that's in a tire cleaner doing in my cereal? What the hell is something that you see, but that's the same thing what they do with the environment, what they do with the food. They'll just say, oh, it's just sugar. And it won't be sugar. It'll be 5 different synthetic ingredients that's sweeteners. But they'll give you this one word and they won't let you know you're eating a science project. And they won't let you know that your air that you're breathing is synthetic because you just call it air versus a concoction of chemicals. Let's break it down what it really is. You see what I'm
And,
saying?
bro, to build on that, right? Just like distilled water, right? Like distilled water is when they take out the minerals and stuff out of it. So they like basically making like acidic, like they're taking all of the alkalinity out of it and making it acidic, just like the air. They could be taking all the minerals and stuff out of the air.
You see what I'm
Think about that.
saying? Like,
like making
And
it
it's
like a
crazy.
distilled air.
To
Cause
keep the
my
po-
thing, my thing is, and this just theories, and I'll yield the flow to y'all. This gonna be quick. Yeah, I don't know if they're taking stuff out the air or they putting stuff in it. It's one or the other, but I'm thinking that they're putting shit up there, and the moment they stop putting it up there, we'll go back to our bodies are here, the earth will like break free. They kicking up dust in the air to keep the veil up. But let me pass the mic.
Have y'all heard
Yeah.
about what's that rich dude Bill Gates making chicken out of in a test tube like with cancer cells?
And now
Yeah,
we
that
want to
lab
know.
grown.
And the next time they come out with a nugget deal, we know where them nuggets come from. 100 nuggets for
Don't eat
$1
them.
type shit. Yeah.
Don't eat
Yep.
them. Don't do it. Don't
Yeah, but
do
what
it.
about the actually find the
They
human
use
in the
them.
food? So like there's a lot of the scientists like finding like human or like biologists, whoever, or finding actual human cells in the food. And that could be another way to get us involved into this ritual thing. Like we already absorbing the music and stuff like that, and we can be actually
You
eating
know what I think, bro?
cannibalistic.
I thought
Yeah.
about that because I did a video on it. And if I tell y'all, it's going to gross you out, but for good, because we need to stop eating meat. I said, now look, all of these farms and shit around the world, they slaughtering up meat, right? Butchering it up, right? I saw this episode of Forensics. I bullshit you not, man. This dude was a butcher and he was making the meat. How about he was killing folks and grinding their meat up in the shop and people was eating human meat and didn't know it. This is a real forensic case. I thought to myself, wait a minute. If he was doing that, what if Tyson Farms, what if, because they did say they found human DNA in a lot of this meat. I'm like, wait a minute, bro. What if somebody, because you got butcher shops all around the world. A nigga want to get you off, right? Is somebody kill?
Hey,
Hey, this has been around a long time, Sanchez. Have you ever heard of a movie called Soylent Green? I'm a little older than you, but it was like food shortages, and they came up with this idea to save the world, and they came up with this Soylent Green, and they was feeding it to everybody, and then Charlton Heston was in it, so you know it's old. And it turned out that the Soylent Green was recycled human, and people didn't know they was eating it.
See what I'm
yeah.
saying? Hey,
And y'all remember that rabbi that was talking about grinding up human meat in the McDonald's burgers? It went viral on YouTube like 10 years ago.
Yeah. He said that all of the missing kids. Remember there was a whole epidemic of missing kids on the milk cartons. He
because
said
you
all
know,
of those kids was getting most. Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you some real shit now, and y'all gotta hear me out. This ain't no reach. We're meat eaters, period. We didn't say animal meat eaters. We just said meat eaters. Meat, period. Now, any kind of meat you can think of on the earth, we eat it. And even if the meat is poisonous, we can find a way to get the poison out of it and still eat the meat. Like they eating puffer fish. They eating things we shouldn't even be eating it. We're eating it. We even, but my thing is this. If it's meat, we've tasted the meat on it as humans. We've wondered, how does turtle meat taste? How does rat meat taste? How does flamingo meat taste? You name something, someone has salivated and said, I wonder how that would taste. Let's try it. And you mean to tell me ain't no group of humans out there saying, well, I wonder how human meat would taste. That Jeffrey Dahmer ain't alone. He just was out the closet. And I think the shit is more common than we think. I think that on the underground, in the world that they shield you from, in the black market, the black underground world that's really going on, I believe people got entire restaurants where you probably can order human that's under the ground. Imagine rich people going to some of these underground places, a whole underground dine-in restaurant that we don't even know about, where they can be ordering as many human dishes as they want. Vampire type shit. Oh,
Cannibalism is
I
real.
wouldn't be put it past it, man.
And Brody,
It's
earlier
good.
you were saying how earlier they were saying how like we used to eat chitlins and all this stuff like that, but before that, our diet was like different. Before like slavery, before you had to like survive. But that goes back to what you were saying years ago, bro, about how like scientists tricked us and said the reason why we got smart is because we ate meat.
Mm.
Yeah, they lying, bro.
Yeah.
Because
They said
yeah.
that we decided to cook meat, and when we cooked the meat, that's what made us started getting smarter, and that's when we started building stuff.
And
Nah,
then
that's some white people talk.
and think about this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you how they science be double talking. Now they say that men are shrinking, men are getting smaller, but yet when you tell them that we supposed to be vegans, they say that man, if you don't eat your meat, you gonna get small. Well, hold up. Ever since we became meat eaters, according to y'all, men have been shrinking. So that's crazy, right? That the Olmecs were big as hell and they were vegans. And we meat eaters and we smaller than them. And then here go the kicker too. People will say, well, my great granddad and my granddaddy, them was bigger than us. You right. But Sanchez, they ate meat too. Guess what? They couldn't eat as much meat as you did. I peeped that already. Like back in the old days, yeah, they ate chitlins, they ate ribs, barbecue, they ate. But guess what? The portions of the meat wasn't as big because niggas was broke back then. Like you can get more meat for cheaper today because it's genetically modified. You can get 25 chicken nuggets for a penny around this bitch. But I'm just saying, back in the day, yeah, they ate meat too, but they didn't eat as much of it, and it wasn't genetically modified.
Yeah, real
Okay,
chickens was small growing up.
I got one for y'all. The silverback is what, 3% off from our genetically off from human. They don't eat no meat, but they 400 pounds and can't not 100 humans couldn't whoop one of them.
And that's what I'm saying, bro.
Yeah.
I think that instead of like that theory, what they said is that we immediately got smart. I think how we was big is us studying nature and following nature, following like the ways of the ants and following the ways of different like animals. We started eating, certain people started eating stuff that big animals was eating.
Yeah.
So if they see like a gorilla is big and strong, let's eat a, but I mean, I want to be like a gorilla, or I want to be like an elephant. Let's eat pecans, to eat more nuts and get more protein.
Yeah,
And
the
they
real,
do
the real.
be like, well, meat made us bigger, but no, meat made us fatter. That's different. But the crazy thing be with the whole meat shit, right? And before this slipped my mind, right? Damn. Oh yeah. You know why we shrinking too? Along with just what we saying now, we don't use our body that much. I mean, the more technological we get, all we do is sit down in front of computer screens all day. Most of us, we're not with like the back in the day. You had hard working men. That was that time, the Industrial Revolution. Niggas got up every day and worked hard. We're in a technological information age of programming. Everybody's sitting down, typing on computers and getting rich from it. So humans ain't really given an incentive to use muscle that much. Like back in the day, right? My grandfather and dad and them, they bodies was built, they was ripped. But guess what? They didn't have a gym membership. They didn't go to the fucking gym. They just worked hard every day. You ever saw a hard working man's body, no homo? The nigga ain't at the gym every day, but he built though, just cause he working hard as hell every day doing man work. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
those mechanics they be
Yeah,
strong out.
yeah,
yeah.
I'm
My
living
dad was a
that.
mechanic.
Yes,
My
I
dad was a
do
mechanic, and
physical
his
labor.
hands was like sandpaper.
yeah.
Yep, I did physical labor. I did what I do, and I did construction, concrete, flat work. I did closed die forging. That was some insane stuff there.
And that gets
Yeah,
your forearm crazy strong too, I bet. Like you could probably
oh
break
yeah.
somebody's hand when you shake their hand.
I used to deliver medical, those medical gases and acetylene and refrigerated liquid, and you got these big compressed gases, and these big look like missiles. You spinning them all. I was all cut up from that. But yeah, it was just physical labor jobs most of my working life. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
different, because
And
I'm like,
they
yeah,
was cut in a different way than the stiff like weight guys, because you working muscles you don't even know you got, man. I don't know if y'all know about
that,
picking cotton or collecting hay. Bro, you rather lift weights than do that shit.
That
Yeah,
don't leave, bro. All that work, it don't leave. All that weight stuff that leave. But when you do work like that, that shit actually stays with genetics, I think.
yeah. My grandfather was a sharecropper in South Carolina, and until he died at 90, he was cut up and he could still walk without a cane and everything. It was crazy.
I'm
You
gonna
know,
tell you,
that's
Sanchez, I don't
crazy.
appreciate you talking about my haircut, man.
He got a Eddie the Monster. He got
Yo,
a widow's peak.
Oh, bro, appreciate you. I was looking at
Yo,
that thing. It was on the screen a long time, man.
but you know
It
what's
seemed like,
crazy? But now that you
yeah,
bring it back up, though, we call it a Eddie the Monster. I'm gonna be honest. I never saw nobody but black folks get that shit though.
yeah.
Like, because the dude in the Adams family is a white little boy with it, but that his shit is like drawn on. But if you think about it, I never saw a white person with that shit. I always see that's a nigga trait. So when I saw El Negro with a box fade and an Eddie, yo, Marlon, you gotta
Yeah. Well,
start
you
getting
know,
your. See, Marlon, don't tell me you wanna. And see, Marlon, all the dudes with the Eddie Monster, they go to the barber shop and they get the Eddie Monster cut off, and we used to tell them, bro, that is not your natural lineup. Get him to shave your Eddie Monster out.
look at that. Look
You feel me?
at that.
Hey,
I'm gonna clown
because
myself right now.
you know when your shit grow back, that Eddie Monster shadow gonna be right there.
Oh man, I just
Hey,
it's
salutes to
there, you
Marlon.
know. But look, if I do a
Yeah,
lineup, you know, I gotta cut off the whole top. You know what I'm saying? Just to make it
yeah,
even out. I ain't doing that.
that's it. Hey,
So,
but
Sanchez,
that's what.
do
Uh
you
huh.
think? Okay. No, go ahead.
No, I'm done.
Oh, I just wanted to ask you: do you think this Pan African is is an agenda? Because one of the candidates for the Pope is supposedly coming from Africa. If he makes it, I don't know. But do you think this Pan African is an agenda?
Well, Pan Africanism, period, is a big agenda. You know what I'm saying? And if there's a Pan African that's becoming a pope or something, I think you said. I'll have to look into that.
Hey, did
But
y'all know?
yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
because that was another thing, Sanchez. When we was talking about the hijack, when they hijacked that the the Council of Nicaea, that part. Um, the original Bible is 800 years older than that. Did y'all know that?
In the Bible
I'm pretty sure.
that came out of the Council of Nicaea.
Yeah, the original Bible was 800 years before that. 833 years before that.
What's
So
crazy
all them
about
stories,
yeah.
like what you were saying about the Jays, that's all true because they didn't even adopt the religion till 800 years after Christ. So they like, whew, you have to do the math on that one. So
Wasn't that Bible in original Hebrew?
I believe that
the original Bible is out of Ethiopia. They have never been colonized. They try to
but
colonize
here go the
them.
thing about the original Bible, the Ethiopian, is all got to do with the book of Enoch. That's and the reason is this: the book of Enoch goes into ascension. It goes into man ascending up to heaven while not dying a mortal death yet, or what we call out of body astral projection. And Enoch, what's so deep about Enoch's story is that it conflicts with the new Bible that says you can't go to heaven till you breathe your last breath, and you're going to either go to heaven or hell. Whereas Throughout the Bible, you see many prophets frequenting heaven and coming back to earth chilling. Like, yeah, I just hollered at God, man, and he told me. You know, you see even John of Patmos, but nobody more than Enoch. And then the book got so many other concepts in it. You know what I'm saying? So, but the whole thing about why they fear Enoch is the same thing they fear with the God I knew. If I pull up, let me do something with y'all real quick before we get out of here, man. I know
Real
this is
quick,
off topic. Let me do
real
something.
quick though, what they fear the most is that we have no fear.
Look
That's
here.
what they fear the most. Is us
Yeah, I'm just
not
trying to
fearing.
go into some syncretism. I'm talking about this for the theologians. I'm with you on it. Hold up a second real quick, though. I'm going to show you something. See, this God that they call Anu in Samaria, that's their form of the prophet Enoch. So when we see images of Enoch, look, see, Enoch is dealing with flat earth because Enoch was said to ascend. Listen to this, guys, because this is very important, man. Enoch was said to ascend through the sky vault. You don't have a sky vault on a globe earth. This portal you see him going through, that's on flat earth cosmology, so it don't make sense on a globe. And because it don't make sense on a globe, they know people gonna be saying, what is this portal that Enoch went through? That's gonna raise questions if they don't do something about it. So they just got rid of the book and they changed that sky portal that's sucking a man up in a sky beam to UFO talk. They started seeding a bunch of, let me show y'all something. They started seeding a bunch of UFO propaganda. Beam me up, Scotty, and you suck the man up through the portal like this. But the first concept of man going to the other world and getting beamed up was right here with Enoch. Look at it. And look, before Enoch, you had another God right here called Anu, who they spoke of that left the earth realm. This the first space program, the knowledge of leaving the earth. And it was through out-of-body astral projection before they turned it into UFO talk and space programs. And that's why they got rid of the book of Enoch, man. It's a reason why the space programs were the symbol of a serpent, because they are given the false knowledge of how to get off the earth, which is the Bible said no flesh and blood can enter the kingdom of heaven. But they keep telling man, when we get the technology right, we gonna get y'all to the stars. When the ancestors said it ain't no technology that can get man to the heavens unless man get out of his body. If man wanna leave the world gotta leave man. And this is how we're going to end the stream today because I'm pressing for time. So I'm going to land right here, but I will be live again. But just remember this. This was the story that the Olmecs was teaching. The Mayan were teaching. The original Aboriginal of America, this was the spiritual system. Astral projection, ascension. And you can't ascend in the flesh, but the devils have tricked the whole world. Like you can go to space physically with the right technology, but they ain't figured it out yet. But they'd have figured out how to upload your soul in a computer before they figured out how to get man to space, even though we supposedly went to the moon. It's hilarious. They know their ancestors was right. You can't leave here physically. You can only do it spiritually. And there were many prophets that knew how to pop their spirit out of their body and come back into their body and tell us about the other side and tell us the future too. They was able to go into tomorrow and come back. And deja vu, they didn't have deja vu because it wasn't deja vu to them. It was them seeing the future. They had harnessed these gifts. And everyone who have deja vu, you got a soul. You are a descendant of the prophets. You have a spiritual inheritance that the archons can't take. Now, I'm finna end the show and I'm gonna tell y'all something, right? They not like us. We not alone. But for some reason, I have to keep telling these archons all the time, we ain't the same, bro. You got a chip in your brain. I got a chip on my shoulder. Peace and much love. We out.
Peace.
Peace. Much love. Appreciate you.
Peace. Appreciate y'all, man. See y'all on the next one. It was a pleasure. Thanks all for the super chats, for the cash apps. Let me make sure I've called out all the cash apps. We don't want to, you know what I'm saying, leave nobody. Okay, ain't nobody sent no cash app, so salutes to everyone that sent in super chats then. Appreciate y'all. And shout out to Kim T. Kim T. Go sub up to the Pop Off Podcast on YouTube. I'm going to go and check you out, Kim T. I'm going to sub up now. And shout out to the sister Demi. Thank you so much for joining the call as well, Demi. She's always the first person on. Thank you. And shout out to OG Leo. Thank you for the cash app. The people who want to know, the cash app is on the screen. If you're watching, it's on the replay. $ Bro Sanchez TV if you want to support my content and fuel the passion. I love all of y'all in the chat room. I see a lot of people showing love. Much love to y'all. I love y'all right back, man. And I can't wait to see y'all on the next one. Y'all have a good night, brothers and sisters. We out.